Welcome back to our bedtime story channel, where we journey through a new chapter of history every night. Tonight, we'll explore the tough and chaotic life of ancient China during the Three Kingdoms era. Let me know in the comments where you're listening from. Now, settle into bed, relax, and let the story transport you to another time. You wake up as the sun rises over the Yellow River Valley. The year is 220 AD. Your stomach growls with hunger. Outside your small mud house, you hear the sound of horses. Many horses. Your heart pounds. Are they friends or enemies? In the Three Kingdoms, you never know which army might come to your village today. You are a farmer living in the northern kingdom of Wei. Your name is Chen Wei, and you work the same small plot of land your family has farmed for generations. The land belongs to a wealthy lord named Master Liu, but you have never seen his face. You only know his tax collectors. Your house is made of mud bricks and has one room. The roof is made of straw and clay tiles. When it rains hard, water drips through the ceiling. You share this space with your wife, Li Mei, and your two young children. Your bed is a wooden platform with a thin straw mattress. In winter, you all sleep under one thick quilt made of cotton and old cloth scraps. The morning light comes through a small paper window. Paper windows are cheaper than glass, but they tear easily. You have patched yours many times with rice paste. Outside, you can see your small vegetable garden. You grow cabbage, turnips, and soybeans. These vegetables keep your family alive when the grain runs out. Your main crop is millet, not rice. Rice grows in the south, where it is warmer and wetter. Here in the north, millet grows better in the dry soil. You also grow some wheat, but most of it goes to the tax collectors. What little you keep gets ground into flour for noodles on special days. You own one water buffalo and two chickens. The water buffalo is your most valuable possession. Without it, you cannot plow your fields. If it dies, your family might starve. You treat it better than you treat yourself. The chickens give you eggs, but only when they are healthy and have enough food to eat. Your farming tools are simple. You have a wooden plow with an iron tip. You have a sickle for cutting grain. You have a wooden hoe for weeding. All of these tools were made by the village blacksmith. They are not fancy, but they work. You oil them with pig fat to keep them from rusting. Every morning, you wake up before dawn. You check on your animals first. Then you eat a small breakfast of millet porridge with pickled vegetables. Your wife starts the fire in the clay stove. She uses dried grass and small pieces of wood for fuel. Cooking fires must be kept small to save fuel for winter. Your children help with the work. Even young children have jobs on a farm. Your 6-year-old son feeds the chickens and collects eggs. Your 4-year-old daughter helps her mother with simple tasks like washing vegetables and grinding grain. Children learn to work early in life. There is no time for play when the family depends on everyone's help. The work is hard and never ends. In spring, you plow the fields and plant seeds. In summer, you weed the crops and fight off insects. In autumn, you harvest the grain and vegetables. In winter, you repair tools and prepare for the next year. Every season brings new challenges and hard work. But this is not your biggest worry. Your biggest worry is the war. China is split into 3 kingdoms that are always fighting. In the north is Wei, ruled by the Cao family. In the south is Wu, ruled by the Sun family. In the southwest is Shu, ruled by Liu Bei and his famous advisor Zhuge Liang. Each kingdom wants to control all of China. You live in Wei territory, so you are supposed to be loyal to Emperor Cao Rui. But loyalty does not put food on your table, and loyalty does not protect you when armies march through your village. Armies need food, and they take it from farmers like you. It does not matter if the soldiers are from Wei, Wu, or Shu. They all need to eat. They all take what they want. If you are lucky, they pay you a little money. If you are unlucky, they take everything and leave you with nothing. The armies also need men to fight. They have a system called conscription. This means they can force men to become soldiers. If the army comes to your village and needs soldiers, they might take your son when he gets older. They might even take you. There is no choice in the matter. War also brings bandits. When times are hard, some people become thieves. They hide in the mountains and forests. They attack villages and steal food and money. The local soldiers are supposed to protect you, but they are often away fighting in the big battles between kingdoms. Today starts like every other day, but something feels different. The chickens are quiet. Your water buffalo seems nervous. These animals can sense danger before humans can. You walk to your fields to check on your crops. The millet is growing well, but you notice some plants have been trampled. Someone or something walked through your field during the night. Your heart sinks. Damaged crops mean less food for your family. As you examine the damage, you hear voices. 3 men are walking towards you. They wear the armor of Wei soldiers, but their armor is dirty and dented. Their faces are hard and unfriendly. One of them carries a long spear. Another has a sword at his side. The third man has a bow and arrows. "Farmer," says the man with the spear, "we need food for our unit. What do you have?" You know this is not really a question. It is a demand. You think quickly. If you say you have nothing, they might search your house and take everything anyway. If you give them something, maybe they will leave you alone. "Honored soldiers," you say with a bow, "I have some millet grain and a few vegetables. You are welcome to what I can spare." The soldier nods. "Show us." You lead them to your small storage shed. Inside are several clay jars filled with grain. There are also dried vegetables hanging from the ceiling. This is your family's food for the next several months. Your stomach knots with worry. The soldiers look at your supplies. They take half of your grain and most of your dried vegetables. They also take your best chickens. You want to protest, but you know it would be dangerous. Soldiers have the power to take whatever they want. "This will feed our unit for a few days," says the soldier with the spear. "We may return if we need more." After they leave, you sit down and put your head in your hands. Half your food is gone. How will you feed your family through the winter? Your wife comes out of the house. She's been hiding with the children. She looks at the empty storage shed and starts to cry. "What will we do?" she asks. You do not have an answer. Let us now see how life is different for Zhang Ming, a merchant in the same area. Zhang Ming is not rich, but he is not poor either. He lives in a larger house in the market town of Xuchang, the capital of Wei Kingdom. His house has 3 rooms and a small courtyard. His family eats meat once a week. Zhang Ming buys and sells cloth, pottery, and small metal goods. He travels from town to town with a cart pulled by 2 oxen. His business requires him to cross the borders between the 3 kingdoms. This is dangerous work. Each kingdom has different laws and different money. In Wei, they use copper coins with square holes in the middle. In Wu, they sometimes use silver pieces. In Shu, they often trade goods without using money at all. Jiang Ming must understand all these different systems. He also needs travel permits. To cross from Wei into Wu territory, he needs a special paper with an official stamp. Without this paper, the border guards will arrest him as a spy. Getting these permits costs money and takes time. Sometimes officials ask for bribes to speed up the process. Jiang Ming's biggest fear is bandits. When he travels with his cart full of goods, he is an easy target. He usually travels with other merchants for safety. They hire guards when they can afford it. But guards cost money, and that reduces his profits. The war between kingdoms makes trade very difficult. Roads that were safe last month might be dangerous this month. Armies move around constantly, and they control the roads. Sometimes Jiang Ming arrives at a town to find that it has been attacked. The customers he planned to sell to have fled or been killed. Today, Jiang Ming is preparing for a journey to Luoyang, a major city in Wei territory. He has loaded his cart with silk cloth and ceramic bowls. These goods came from craftsmen in Xuchang. He hopes to sell them for a good price in Luoyang. But he has heard troubling news. A messenger came to town yesterday with reports of fighting near Luoyang. The army of Shu has been seen in the area. This means the roads might be blocked or dangerous. Jiang Ming faces a difficult choice. If he waits, his goods might lose value. Other merchants might reach Luoyang first and sell similar goods. But if he travels now, he might lose everything to bandits or soldiers. He decides to take the risk. He hires 2 guards and joins a group of 5 other merchants. Together, they set out before dawn. Their oxen move slowly, but they can cover about 20 miles in a day if the roads are good. The first part of their journey goes well. The road is clear, and they meet no trouble. But as they get closer to Luoyang, they see smoke rising from a village ahead. This is not a good sign. When they reach the village, they find it has been attacked. Some houses are burned. The villagers who remain tell them that Shu soldiers came through 2 days ago. The soldiers took food and horses. They also took several young men to serve as soldiers. The road to Luoyang is blocked, says an old villager. More soldiers are coming. You should turn back. Jiang Ming looks at his cart full of goods. If he turns back now, he will lose money on this trip. But if he continues, he might lose his goods and his life. This is the constant struggle of a merchant during the 3 Kingdoms period. Every business decision is also a life or death decision. Now let us see the world through the eyes of General Wang Shuang, a military commander in the Wei army. Wang Shuang is not one of the famous generals you might have heard about, like Zhao Yun or Guan Yu. He is a middle-level officer who commands about 500 soldiers. General Wang lives in a military camp near the border with Shu territory. His quarters are better than a farmer's house, but not as nice as a merchant's home. He has a wooden bed with a real mattress. He has a desk where he writes reports and plans battles. He has a servant who helps him with his armor and weapons. But being a general is not an easy life. General Wang must keep his soldiers fed, armed, and ready to fight. This is much harder than it sounds. The government in Luoyang is supposed to send him supplies, but they often arrive late or not at all. Sometimes the supply wagons are attacked by enemy soldiers or bandits. When supplies do not come, General Wang must find food for his soldiers. This means taking food from local farmers, like the farmer Chen Wei we met earlier. General Wang does not like doing this, but he has no choice. Hungry soldiers cannot fight. Hungry soldiers might desert or rebel. General Wang also has to deal with discipline problems. His soldiers are tired and scared. They have been fighting for years. Many of them just want to go home to their families. Some soldiers drink too much alcohol. Others get into fights with local people. A few try to run away. When soldiers misbehave, General Wang must punish them. Military law is strict. A soldier who deserts can be executed. A soldier who disobeys orders can be beaten. A soldier who steals from civilians can be flogged. General Wang does not enjoy punishing his men, but military discipline is necessary. The general also faces pressure from his superiors. Every month, he must send reports to the regional commander. These reports describe battles, troop movements, and supplies. The commanders want to know everything that happens in General Wang's territory. If General Wang's unit performs poorly in battle, he might be demoted or executed. If his soldiers cause too many problems with local people, he might be blamed. If enemy forces capture territory in his area, he might be held responsible. Today, General Wang has received new orders. His unit is to march south and attack a Shu fortress near the Han River. This is a dangerous mission. The fortress is well defended, and his soldiers are already tired from their last battle. General Wang studies his maps and plans his attack. He knows that many of his soldiers will die in this battle. He also knows that if he refuses to attack, he will be executed for disobedience. This is the terrible burden of military command during the Three Kingdoms period. He calls his officers together for a meeting. There are 5 other officers under his command. Each one leads about 100 soldiers. They are all experienced fighters, but they look worried about the new orders. "We march at dawn," General Wang tells them. The fortress has about 300 defenders. We will attack from 2 sides. Captain Li will take his men around to the east. Captain Chen will attack from the west. I will lead the main assault from the north. The officers nod, but they know this will be a difficult battle. The fortress sits on a hill and has high walls. The defenders have crossbows and can shoot down at the attacking soldiers. Many good men will die trying to capture this fortress. "What about supplies?" asked Captain Li. "We barely have enough food for the march." General Wang knows this is a problem. His soldiers need to eat, but there is not enough food. "We will take what we need from villages along the way," he says. He does not like this solution, but there is no other choice. This decision will make life harder for farmers like Chen Wei. But General Wang must think about his soldiers first. This is the harsh reality of war during the Three Kingdoms period. Finally, let us see how the wealthy live during this time. Master Liu Yangming is a rich landowner who controls several villages in Wei territory. He owns thousands of acres of farmland. Hundreds of families, including the farmer Chen Wei, work his land and pay him taxes. Master Liu lives in a large compound in the city of Xucheng. His house has dozens of rooms, beautiful gardens, and a private library. He owns silk robes, jade jewelry, and fine pottery. He eats meat every day and drinks expensive wine. But even Master Liu has problems during the Three Kingdoms period. His wealth makes him a target for several different groups. The government wants him to pay heavy taxes to fund the army. Bandits want to kidnap him for ransom. Enemy kingdoms want to capture him to hurt Wei's economy. Master Liu also has political problems. He must be careful about what he says and does. If he seems disloyal to the Wei government, he could be arrested. If he seems too loyal, he might be targeted by spies from Wu or Shu. In times of war, even wealthy people must watch their words. The war has hurt Master Liu's business. Many of his tenant farmers have been forced to become soldiers. Others have fled to safer areas. This means less food is grown on his land, and he receives less rent money. Master Liu has also been asked to provide supplies for the army. The government does not exactly ask, they demand. He must give grain, cloth, and money to support the war effort. If he refuses, he will be accused of treason. Today, Master Liu is meeting with his estate manager, a man named Zhao Ping. Zhao Ping manages the day-to-day operations of Master Liu's farms and businesses. He has brought troubling news. "Master," says Zhao Ping, "the tax collectors came to 3 of our villages yesterday. They took more grain than usual. They said the army needs extra supplies for a new campaign." Master Liu frowns. "How much did they take?" "About half of what the farmers had stored for winter," Zhao Ping replies. "Some families will not have enough food to last until spring." This creates a problem for Master Liu. If his tenant farmers starve, they cannot work his land next year. But if he gives them extra food, he will have less for himself and his family. During wartime, even wealthy people must make difficult choices about survival. Master Liu also faces another problem. A messenger arrived this morning with a letter from the regional governor. The letter requests that Master Liu send 20 young men from his villages to serve as soldiers. Again, this is not really a request. It is a demand. 20 men, Master Liu says to Zhao Ping. That is 20 fewer workers for the spring planting. How will we plant all our fields? Zhao Ping shakes his head. "I do not know, Master. Maybe we can hire workers from other areas. But workers are scarce because of the war." Master Liu walks to his window and looks out at his gardens. Even in his beautiful home, he cannot escape the effects of war. The Three Kingdoms period is difficult for everyone, rich and poor alike. As the sun sets on this day in the Three Kingdoms, each of our characters faces uncertainty. The farmer Chen Wei wonders how to feed his family with half his grain gone. The merchant Zhang Ming decides whether to risk the dangerous road to Luoyang. General Wang prepares his soldiers for a deadly battle. Master Liu tries to balance the demands of war with the needs of his business. In the world of the Three Kingdoms, survival requires courage, intelligence, and luck. Even then, there are no guarantees. The sound of horses grows louder in the distance. Another army is coming. Another day of struggle is about to begin. You are Zhang Ming, the merchant, and you have just made a terrible mistake. You decided to take the dangerous road to Luoyang despite the warnings. Now you stand frozen as 30 bandits surround your small caravan. Their leader rides a stolen war horse and carries a sword that gleams in the afternoon sun. Your guards reach for their weapons, but you are outnumbered 6-1. 3 days ago, you made the decision that might cost you everything. Against the advice of the burned village's survivors, you and 5 other merchants decided to continue toward Luoyang. Your cart is loaded with silk cloth worth more than most people earn in 5 years. The ceramic bowls you carry are painted with delicate blue patterns that wealthy families prize. If you turn back now, you lose money. If you continue, you might lose your life. Your 2 hired guards are brothers named Wu Da and Wu Er. They are skilled fighters, but they are not heroes from famous stories. Wu Da carries a spear and wears leather armor. Wu Er has a crossbow and a short sword. They are brave men, but they know their limits. The other merchants in your group are also worried. Master Feng carries expensive tea leaves from the southern mountains. His cart smells like flowers and earth. Master Hu has boxes of iron tools made by skilled craftsmen. Master Chen transports salt, which is as valuable as silver in some places. Master Zhou has bundles of hemp cloth, and Master Yan carries medicine herbs. Together, your 6 carts represent more wealth than most villages see in a year. This makes you all targets for bandits, soldiers, and desperate people. The road to Luoyang is ancient. It was built hundreds of years ago when China was united under the Han Dynasty. The road is made of packed earth with stones in the muddy areas. During the rainy season, it becomes a river of mud. During the dry season, it creates clouds of dust that make you cough and cover your eyes. Along the road are small villages where travelers can rest. These villages have inns where you can sleep and eat. They have blacksmiths who can repair your cart wheels. They have veterinarians who can treat sick oxen. But during wartime, many of these villages are empty or destroyed. Your oxen are strong animals, but they move slowly. On a good day, you can travel about 20 miles. On a bad day, when the road is muddy or blocked, you might only travel 5 miles. Each day on the road means more danger and more expense. You must feed your oxen every day. They eat grass and grain. You must also feed your guards and yourself. Food costs money, and money spent on food is money not earned from trade. But hungry oxen cannot pull your cart, and hungry guards cannot protect you. At night, you camp beside the road. You build a fire to cook food and keep warm. You also build a fire to scare away wild animals. There are wolves in the mountains and tigers in the forests, but the most dangerous animals are humans. On the 3rd day of your journey, disaster strikes. You are traveling through a narrow valley between 2 hills. The road here is only wide enough for 1 cart. Tall grass and small trees grow on both sides. It is the perfect place for an ambush. Your group is spread out along the road. Master Feng's cart is in front, followed by Master Hu, then you, then Master Chen, Master Zhou, and Master Yan. Wu Da walks beside your cart. Wu Er rides on Master Feng's cart, where he can see the road ahead. Suddenly, Wu Er shouts a warning. Bandits! Many bandits! Men jump out of the tall grass on both sides of the road. They carry spears, swords, and clubs. Some have bows and arrows. They wear a mix of clothing. Some have pieces of armor stolen from soldiers. Others wear simple farming clothes. Their faces are dirty and hard. The bandit leader rides a black horse. He is a big man with scars on his face and arms. He wears a steel helmet. and carries a long sword. His voice is loud and threatening. "Merchants," he shouts, "you are now my prisoners. Give us your goods and your money, and we might let you live." Wudar and Wu-Er move to protect you, but they are badly outnumbered. The other merchants' guards also prepare to fight, but there are only 8 guards against 30 bandits. Master Feng, the tea merchant, is the first to speak. "Honorable bandits," he says with a shaky voice, "we are poor traders. We have little of value." The bandit leader laughs. "Poor traders, with 6 carts full of goods. I think you lie, old man. You think quickly. Fighting will get you killed. Running is impossible with heavy carts. Maybe you can negotiate." "Great leader," you say, stepping forward. "We are indeed traders, but we are not rich. We have families to feed and debts to pay. Perhaps we can share some of our goods with you, and you can let us pass." The bandit leader studies you with cold eyes. "Share. Everything here belongs to me now, but I am not unreasonable. Give me half of everything, and I will let you go. Half of everything would ruin you. You would lose money on this trip and have debts you cannot pay. But refusing might mean death." Master Hu, the tool merchant, tries a different approach. "Great leader, we have information that might interest you. There is a Wei army unit camping near the river, only 10 miles from here. They have supplies and horses." The bandit leader becomes interested. "How many soldiers?" "About 40. Master Hu lies. "You know, there are actually over 200 soldiers in that camp because you passed near it yesterday." Master Hu is trying to lead the bandits into a trap. The bandit leader considers this. 40 soldiers, you say? That is many, but we have fought soldiers before." He turns to his men. "What do you think, brothers? Should we trust these merchants?" The bandits argue among themselves. Some want to take your goods now. Others want to attack the soldier camp. While they argue, you notice something that gives you hope. Wu-Er has quietly moved to a position where he can shoot his crossbow. He catches your eye and nods slightly. He has a plan. Wu-Er suddenly shoots his crossbow at the bandit leader. The arrow hits the man in the shoulder, and he falls from his horse with a cry of pain. At the same moment, Wudar throws his spear at the nearest bandit. "Run!" Wudar shouts. "Everyone run!" Chaos erupts. The bandits are confused by the sudden attack. Some run to help their wounded leader. Others chase after the fleeing merchants. The guards fight desperately to protect their employers. You abandon your cart and run into the tall grass. Master Feng and Master Qian run with you. Behind you, you hear the sounds of fighting, men shouting, weapons clashing, oxen bellowing in fear. You run through the grass and up the hillside. Thorns tear at your clothes. Branches scratch your face. Your expensive silk robe is ruined, but you are alive. After running for what feels like hours, you stop to rest behind a large rock. Master Feng and Master Qian are with you, but you do not see the other merchants. You do not see your guards. You do not know if they are alive or dead. "My tea," Master Feng says sadly. 20 years I have been buying and selling tea. Now it is all gone. Master Qian just sits on the ground and stares at nothing. His salt was his life savings. Without it, he has nothing. You think about your own losses. Your silk cloth, your ceramic bowls, your oxen, your car, all gone. Worse, you borrowed money to buy those goods. Now you have no way to pay back the loan. But you are alive. In the Three Kingdoms period, being alive is sometimes the best you can hope for. You and the other surviving merchants walk for 2 days before reaching safety. You arrive at a Wei army camp near the Yellow River. The soldiers allow you to enter because you have information about the bandits who attacked you. The camp is a temporary city made of tents and wooden buildings. There are about 500 soldiers here, plus their families and camp followers. Camp followers are people who travel with the army, cooks, blacksmiths, doctors, and merchants who sell supplies to soldiers. The camp is surrounded by a wooden fence with guard towers. Inside the fence are rows of tents for the soldiers. There are also larger tents for the officers and a few wooden buildings for storing supplies. The camp has its own well for water and a kitchen area where large pots cook food for hundreds of people. You are given a small tent to share with Master Feng and Master Qian. The tent is made of thick cloth and has a dirt floor. It is not comfortable, but it is safe. You have a straw mat to sleep on and a blanket to keep warm. The soldiers feed you rice porridge and vegetables. The food is plain, but filling. You are grateful for every bowl. Many refugees are not so lucky. You learn that bandit attacks have become very common. The war between the Three Kingdoms has created chaos. Many soldiers have deserted and become bandits. Many farmers have lost their land and turned to theft. The roads are dangerous for everyone. The camp commander, Colonel Zhang, calls you and the other merchants to his tent. Colonel Zhang is a veteran soldier with grey hair and many scars. He has been fighting in the Three Kingdoms Wars for over 10 years. Tell me about these bandits, he says. How many were there? What weapons did they have? Where exactly did they attack you? You describe the attack in detail. Colonel Zhang listens carefully and asks many questions. He is planning to send soldiers to hunt down the bandits. These bandits are led by a man called Iron Scar Liu, Colonel Zhang tells you. He has been attacking merchants and villages for 6 months. We have been trying to catch him, but he knows the area well and has many hiding places. You ask about your guards, Wu Da and Wu Er. Colonel Zhang shakes his head sadly. We found the battle site yesterday. Several men died there. I am sorry for your loss. Learning about the death of your guards hits you hard. Wu Da and Wu Er were good men who died trying to protect you. They had families who depended on them. Now those families will have no income. This is another harsh reality of life during the Three Kingdoms period. Good people die for bad reasons. Families are destroyed by violence. There is no justice for the innocent. While you stay in the refugee camp, you observe how soldiers live. Their life is hard in different ways from yours as a merchant. The soldiers wake up before dawn every day. They begin with weapons practice. They train with spears, swords, and bows. They practice marching in formation. They learn to work together as a fighting unit. After training, they eat breakfast. Soldier food is simple: rice or millet porridge, vegetables, and sometimes a little meat. The army cooks prepare food in large pots over open fires. Each soldier gets 1 bowl of food and 1 cup of tea. The soldiers spend their days on various duties. Some guard the camp gates. Others patrol the area around the camp. Some maintain weapons and equipment. Others build and repair camp buildings. The soldiers sleep 10 men in a tent. They have thin straw mats and one blanket each. In winter, they huddle together for warmth. In summer, the tents are hot and stuffy. Privacy is impossible. Many soldiers are homesick. They miss their families and their villages. They have been away from home for months or years. Some have received letters saying their families are hungry or sick. But they cannot leave to help because desertion is punishable by death. The soldiers are paid, but not very much. A regular soldier earns about the same as a poor farmer. Officers earn more, but they also have more responsibilities and more dangers. You talk with some of the soldiers during your stay. One young man named Liu Gang is from a village near yours. He was conscripted into the army 2 years ago. He tells you about his experiences. "I never wanted to be a soldier," Liu Gang says. "I wanted to be a farmer like my father. But the army came to our village and took all the young men. They said we had to serve for 5 years." Liu Gang has been in 3 battles. He has seen many friends die. He has killed enemy soldiers, but he takes no joy in it. He just wants to go home. "The worst part is not knowing," he says. "I do not know if my family is alive. I do not know if our village still exists. I do not know if I will ever see home again." This conversation makes you realize how lucky you are. You lost your goods and your money, but you are still free. You can choose where to go and what to do. The soldiers have no such choices. You also meet Captain Chen, one of the officers in the camp. Captain Chen is in charge of 100 soldiers. He is a career military man who has been fighting for 15 years. Captain Chen explains the challenges of military leadership during the 3 Kingdoms period. "People think officers have easy lives," he says. "They think we just give orders and collect pay, but the responsibility is enormous." Captain Chen must keep his soldiers fed, equipped, and trained. He must maintain discipline while also keeping up morale. He must be brave in battle while also being smart about tactics. "If my soldiers perform poorly, I am blamed," Captain Chen explains. "If they behave badly with civilians, I am responsible. If they lose equipment or waste supplies, it comes out of my pay." Captain Chen also faces political pressures. He must be loyal to his superiors, but he also must care for his men. Sometimes these 2 duties conflict. "Last month, I was ordered to attack a village suspected of helping Shu spies," Captain Chen says. "But when we arrived, we found only farmers and children. I had to choose between following orders and protecting innocent people." What did Captain Chen do? He chose to protect the innocent. He reported that the village was empty when his unit arrived. This was a lie, but it saved lives. However, lying to superiors is dangerous. If discovered, Captain Chen could be executed for disobedience. This is the moral burden that officers carry. They must make life and death decisions every day. They must balance competing loyalties and conflicting orders. There are no easy answers. After a week in the refugee camp, you must decide what to do next. You have lost everything you owned. You have debts you cannot pay. You have no goods to trade and no money to buy new goods. Master Feng decides to return to his home village. He will try to borrow money from relatives to start over. Master Chen decides to join the army as a camp follower. He will work as a cook or supply clerk. It is not the life he wanted, but it is better than starving. You consider your options. You could return home and try to rebuild your business. But your creditors will be waiting. They will want their money, and you have no way to pay them. You could join the army like Master Chen. Military life is hard, but it provides food and shelter. You would be safe from bandits and creditors. You could try to find work in a city. Cities always need people who can read and write. You could work as a clerk or accountant. The pay would be low, but it would be honest work. You could even try to start a completely new life. You could change your name and move to a different kingdom. In Wu or Shu territory, no one would know about your debts. You could begin again as a different person. Each option has risks and benefits. This is the difficult reality of life during the Three Kingdoms period. One bad decision or one unlucky day can destroy everything you have built. While you struggle with your merchant problems, the farmer Chen Wei faces his own crisis. Remember, soldiers took half his grain supply at the beginning of our story. Now winter is coming, and his family does not have enough food. Chen Wei tries several desperate measures to feed his family. He sells his chickens for a small amount of money. He trades his winter clothes for grain. He even considers selling his precious water buffalo, but without it, he cannot plow his fields next spring. Chen Wei also looks for wild food in the forests. He collects nuts, berries, and edible roots. His wife Li Mei makes soup from tree bark and grass. These foods are not nutritious, but they fill empty stomachs. The children are always hungry. They cry at night because their stomachs hurt. Chen Wei's 4-year-old daughter is getting thin and weak. His 6-year-old son tries to be brave, but he asks every day when they will have real food again. Chen Wei considers desperate options. He could try to join a group of bandits. Bandits eat well because they steal from others. But Chen Wei is not a violent man, and he knows that bandit life usually ends in death. He could try to flee to another kingdom. Maybe Wu or Shu territory would be safer. But traveling is dangerous, and he has no money for the journey. His family might starve on the road. He could try to borrow food from his landlord, Master Liu. But Master Liu has his own problems with taxes and army demands. Besides, Chen Wei already owes Master Liu money from previous years. Chen Wei's situation shows how quickly life can become desperate during wartime. One bad event, like soldiers taking your food, can lead to starvation. There is no safety net for poor people during the Three Kingdoms period. Meanwhile, General Wang Shuang faces his own crisis. Remember, he received orders to attack a Shu fortress. Now he must carry out this dangerous mission with tired soldiers and limited supplies. The fortress sits on a hill overlooking the Han River. It has high stone walls and several guard towers. About 300 Shu soldiers defend it. General Wang has 500 soldiers, but attacking a fortress is much harder than defending one. General Wang studies the fortress for 3 days before attacking. He uses scouts to count the defenders and identify weak points. He plans his attack carefully, but he knows many of his soldiers will die. The attack begins at dawn. General Wang divides his soldiers into 3 groups as he planned. Captain Li leads 150 soldiers around to the east side of the fortress. Captain Chen leads 150 soldiers to the west side. General Wang leads the remaining 200 soldiers in a direct assault from the north. The battle is fierce and bloody. The Shu defenders shoot arrows and throw stones from the walls. They pour boiling oil on the attacking soldiers. General Wang's men use ladders to climb the walls and rams to break down the gates. The battle lasts all day. By evening, General Wang's soldiers have captured the fortress, but at a terrible cost. Over 200 of his soldiers are dead or wounded. Among the dead is Captain Li, a brave officer who fought by General Wang's side for 5 years. General Wang sits in the captured fortress and writes his victory report. He must tell his superiors that the mission was successful, but he cannot bring back the dead soldiers. He cannot heal the wounded. He cannot undo the suffering this battle has caused. This is the burden of command during the Three Kingdoms period. Military success comes at a human cost. Every victory is also a tragedy. Master Liu, the wealthy landowner, faces different but equally serious problems. The war has made everyone suspicious of everyone else. Rich people are especially watched because they have the resources to support rebellion. A government inspector arrives at Master Liu's compound. Inspector Wang is a thin man with cold eyes. He has the power to investigate anyone suspected of disloyalty to the Wei Kingdom. Master Liu, says Inspector Wang, I have received reports that you have been in contact with merchants from Wu territory. Some people say you are selling grain to the enemy. This accusation is very dangerous. Trading with enemy kingdoms is treason. The punishment for treason is death, and the government will seize all of Master Liu's property. Honored Inspector, Master Liu says carefully, I have had no contact with Wu merchants. All of my business is conducted within Wei territory. I am a loyal subject of Emperor Chao Rui. Inspector Wang is not convinced. We shall see. I will be staying here for several days to investigate. I will need to examine your business records and question your servants. For the next week, Inspector Wang searches Master Liu's compound. He reads letters and account books. He questions servants and workers. He is looking for any evidence of disloyalty. Master Liu is terrified. He knows that innocent people are often found guilty during wartime. Fear makes people see enemies everywhere. A misunderstood letter or a suspicious transaction could cost him his life. The investigation reveals no evidence of treason, but Inspector Wang is still suspicious. You are fortunate this time, Master Liu, he says, but I will be watching you. Any sign of disloyalty, and you will face the consequences. After Inspector Wang leaves, Master Liu realizes how precarious his position is. Wealth provides comfort, but it also makes you a target. During the Three Kingdoms period, even rich people live in fear. As winter deepens, all of our characters face the harsh realities of life during the Three Kingdoms period. Each has learned important lessons about survival. You, as the merchant Jiang Ming, have learned that success and failure can change in an instant. One bandit attack destroyed years of careful work, but you have also learned that life is more valuable than money. You survived when others died. Chen Wei, the farmer, has learned that ordinary people suffer most during wartime. Soldiers take his food, but he cannot fight back. He must find ways to survive without power or resources. General Wang has learned that military success comes at a terrible cost. Victory in battle does not feel like victory when you count the dead. Leadership means making decisions that cause suffering. Master Liu has learned that wealth does not provide safety during wartime. Money and property make you a target for thieves, tax collectors, and political enemies. Even rich people must live in fear. These lessons reflect the reality of the Three Kingdoms period. It was a time of constant danger and difficult choices. People from all walks of life faced challenges that tested their courage, wisdom, and will to survive. The sound of horses in the distance reminds everyone that in the Three Kingdoms period, danger is never far away. Another day of struggle is ending, but the fight for survival continues. You are Chen Wei, the farmer, and your 4-year-old daughter has not eaten in 2 days. She lies on the straw mat, too weak to cry. Outside your mud house, snow falls steadily. Your wife boils tree bark to make soup, but there is no nutrition in it. In 3 hours, tax collectors will arrive to take what little grain you have hidden. This is the choice that will define your family's fate. Hide and risk execution, or give up your last food and watch your children starve. Winter has come early to northern China. Snow began falling in the 10th month, much sooner than usual. The cold wind cuts through the thin walls of your house like knives. You have no fuel for heating, except dried grass and small twigs. These burn quickly and give little warmth. Your family huddles together under your one thick quilt. Your wife, Li Mei, holds your daughter close to her body. Your 6-year-old son, Chen Bo, tries to be brave, but his lips are blue from the cold. The paper window has torn again, letting in freezing air. The food situation has become desperate. After the soldiers took half your grain 2 months ago, you have been slowly starving. You sold your chickens for money, but that money is gone. You traded your winter coat for a small bag of millet, but that is also gone. Now you survive on things that are barely food. Li Mei makes soup from tree bark by boiling it for hours. The bark has no nutrition, but it fills your stomach temporarily. You collect acorns from oak trees and grind them into flour. Acorn flour is bitter and hard to digest, but it can keep you alive. You also eat grass soup made from dried grass, boiled with a tiny amount of grain. Sometimes, Li Mei finds wild turnips or roots in the frozen ground. These vegetables are small and tough, but they have some nutrition. Your children are suffering the most. They have lost weight and become weak. Your daughter, Chen Hua, can barely walk. She sleeps most of the day to save energy. Your son tries to help with work, but he moves slowly and gets tired quickly. The worst part is watching them ask for food you do not have. Papa, Chen Hua whispers, when will we have rice again? You do not know how to answer. You have no rice, no money to buy rice, and no way to get rice. 3 days ago, you made a terrible discovery. Hidden under loose floorboards, you found a small jar of grain that you had forgotten about. It contains maybe 10 days' worth of food for your family. This grain could keep you alive until spring, when you might find work or wild food. But today, the tax collectors are coming again. Master Liu's estate manager, Zhao Ping, arrives at your village with 2 guards. Zhao Ping is not a cruel man, but he has orders from Master Liu, who has orders from the government. Everyone must pay taxes to support the war effort. Chen Wei, Zhao Ping calls, outside your house. Come out. We need to talk. You step outside into the cold. Zhao Ping looks uncomfortable. He knows your family is starving, but he has a job to do. The government has ordered another special tax, Zhao Ping says. All farmers must contribute extra grain for the spring military campaign. Each family must give 20 jin of grain. A jin is about 1 pound, so they want 20 pounds of grain from you. Your heart sinks. 20 jinn is exactly how much grain you have hidden. If you give it to them, your family will die. If you refuse, you will be arrested as a tax evader. The punishment for tax evasion is death. Honored sir, you say carefully, my family has no grain left. The soldiers took our supplies 2 months ago. We have been eating bark soup and grass. Zhao Ping looks at your thin face and torn clothes. He can see you are telling the truth, but he still has orders to follow. I am sorry, Chen Wei, but everyone must pay. The army needs supplies for the war against Shu. If we do not collect enough grain, more soldiers will come. They will take everything. You think quickly. Maybe you can negotiate. Sir, what if I promise to pay double tax next year? When the harvest comes, I will give you 40 jin instead of 20. Zhao Ping shakes his head. The army needs grain now, not next year. Besides, many farmers make such promises and then disappear or die before harvest time. You realize you have no choice. You must either give up your hidden grain or face execution. But giving up the grain means your family will starve. This is the impossible situation that many farmers faced during the Three Kingdoms period. Please, sir, you beg, give me 1 day to find the grain. I will search my neighbors' houses and ask relatives for help. Zhao Ping considers this. 1 day, he agrees. If you do not have 20 jin of grain tomorrow, I will report you to the authorities. After Zhao Ping leaves, you sit on the ground and put your head in your hands. Li Mei comes outside and sits beside you. She has heard the conversation. What will we do? She asks. You have been thinking about this moment for weeks. You have a plan, but it is dangerous and might not work. That night, you gather your family around the small fire. You explain your plan in whispers. Even the children must understand what you are going to do. We are going to leave our village, you tell them. We will take our hidden grain and travel south. Maybe in Wu territory, we can find work and food. Li Mei looks scared. But husband, winter travel is dangerous. The children are weak. What if we die on the road? You have thought about this. If we stay here, we will certainly die. If we leave, we might die. But we also might live. I chose the chance to live. Your son, Chen Bo, asks, Papa, what about our house? What about our land? The house belongs to Master Liu, you explain. The land belongs to Master Liu. We are only tenants. If we cannot pay taxes, they will find new tenants. This is the harsh reality of tenant farming during the Three Kingdoms period. Farmers do not own their land. They work land that belongs to wealthy landlords. If they cannot pay rent and taxes, they can be thrown out at any time. You spend the night preparing for your escape. You take your hidden grain and divide it into small bags that are easy to carry. You pack your few tools, your extra clothes, and your cooking pot. Everything you own fits into 2 small bundles. You write a letter to Zhao Ping explaining that you are giving up your tenancy and leaving the area. This is not exactly legal, but it is better than simply disappearing. Maybe Zhao Ping will not send soldiers to hunt you down. Before dawn, your family leaves the village quietly. You do not say goodbye to your neighbors because you do not want them to know where you are going. In the Three Kingdoms period, Information can be dangerous. If the authorities question your neighbors, they might reveal your escape route. You carry Chen Hua on your back because she is too weak to walk far. Chen Bo walks beside you, carrying a small bundle. Li Mei carries the cooking pot and some clothes. Together, you walk south toward Wu territory. Meanwhile, you, Jiang Ming the merchant, have made your own difficult choices. After losing everything in the bandit attack, you decided to start a completely new life. You changed your name to Jiang Jun and found work as a clerk in the city of Luoyang. Your new job is with a government office that manages grain supplies for the army. You keep records of how much grain comes into the city and how much goes out to military units. The work is boring, but it is safe and provides steady income. Your new life is very different from your old life as a merchant. As a clerk, you work in a small office with 4 other men. You sit at a wooden desk and write with a brush and ink. You record numbers in account books. You read reports from grain collectors and write summaries for your supervisor. The pay is much less than you earned as a merchant. A clerk earns about the same as a skilled craftsman, enough to rent a small room and buy simple food, but not enough to get rich. You live in a boarding house with 6 other men. You share a room and eat meals prepared by the landlord's wife. The work requires you to read and write well, which many people cannot do. This skill makes you valuable to the government, but it also means you see disturbing information about how the war is really going. The grain records show that the Wei Kingdom is running out of food. Military units are requesting more supplies than the government can provide. Farmers are producing less grain because so many have been forced to become soldiers. Some regions are experiencing famine. You also see reports about bandit activities. The bandit group that attacked you, led by Iron Scar Liu, has grown larger and bolder. They now control several mountain areas and attack government supply convoys. The army has tried to hunt them down, but without success. Your supervisor, Director Chen, is a worried man. He knows that the grain shortage could lead to military defeat. Hungry soldiers cannot fight effectively. Hungry civilians might rebel against the government. Jiang Jun, Director Chen says to you one day, "I am promoting you to senior clerk. You will now handle reports from 3 provinces instead of 1. This is important work for the kingdom." The promotion means more pay and more responsibility. It also means you see even more disturbing information. You learn that Wu Kingdom spies are trying to bribe Wei officials. You learn that some Wei generals are considering switching sides. You learn that the emperor is demanding higher taxes from people who are already starving. Knowledge can be dangerous during the 3 Kingdoms period. The more you know about government problems, the more risk you face. If officials suspect you of disloyalty, they might arrest you. If you accidentally reveal secret information, you might be executed. But you also realize that your position gives you opportunities. You know which areas have grain surpluses and which areas have shortages. You know when military units will be moving and when they will need supplies. This information could be valuable to the right people. You must be very careful about how you use this knowledge. Too much ambition could get you killed. But used wisely, your position as a government clerk could lead to a better life. General Wang Shuang faces his own challenges after the costly battle at the fortress. His victory was technically successful, but it came at a terrible price. He lost over 200 soldiers, including his trusted Captain Lee. His remaining soldiers are demoralized and angry. The fortress he captured is strategically important, but it is difficult to defend. The Shu kingdom wants it back and has been launching counterattacks. General Wang must keep fighting battles with fewer and fewer soldiers. His supply situation is also critical. The government in Luoyang is supposed to send him food, weapons, and replacement soldiers. But these supplies arrive slowly, or not at all. The government has many military units to support and limited resources. General Wang must find creative ways to keep his unit functioning. He makes deals with local merchants to buy supplies. He recruits new soldiers from nearby villages. He even negotiates with bandits, offering them pardons if they join his army. Some of his decisions are morally questionable. When his soldiers need food, he allows them to take grain from local farmers. When he needs more soldiers, he forces young men to join his army. These actions hurt innocent people, but General Wang believes they are necessary for military survival. His relationship with his soldiers is complicated. They respect his leadership and bravery, but they also blame him for the heavy casualties in recent battles. Some soldiers are beginning to desert, slipping away during the night and returning to their home villages. General Wang faces pressure from his superiors to achieve more victories with fewer resources. The regional commander, General Zhao, sends demanding letters every week. General Zhao wants to know why General Wang's unit is not advancing faster and capturing more territory. General Wang, writes General Zhao, the Emperor expects results. Your recent victory at the fortress is noted, but you must do more. You are ordered to capture the town of Nanyang within 30 days. Failure is not acceptable. Nanyang is a well-defended town with over 1,000 Shu soldiers. General Wang has only 300 soldiers left after his recent losses. Attacking Nanyang would be suicide, but refusing orders would be treason. General Wang considers his options. He could attack Nanyang and likely die with all his soldiers. He could refuse orders and be executed for disobedience. He could desert with his soldiers and become a bandit. None of these choices are good. In the end, General Wang chooses a fourth option. He decides to write to General Zhao, requesting reinforcements before attacking Nanyang. This will delay the attack and might save his soldiers' lives. It is also risky because it might be seen as questioning orders. Honored General Zhao, General Wang writes, I am honored to receive your orders regarding Nanyang. However, my unit has suffered heavy casualties and requires reinforcements before undertaking such an important mission. Please send 500 additional soldiers and supplies for a siege. With proper resources, I am confident of victory. This letter is a gamble. If General Zhao agrees, General Wang might receive the help he needs. If General Zhao refuses or becomes angry, General Wang might face court-martial. But it is better than leading his soldiers to certain death. Master Liu faces his own crisis as winter deepens. The government has increased taxes again to pay for the war. Local bandits have become more aggressive, attacking wealthy families for ransom. Several of Master Liu's business associates have been arrested on suspicion of treason. Master Liu realizes that his wealth makes him a target for everyone. The government wants his money. Bandits want his property. Political enemies want to destroy him. He must find ways to protect himself and his family. His first strategy is to spread his wealth around. Instead of keeping all his money in one place, he converts some of it into portable goods like jewelry and silk. He hides these items in different locations. If authorities seize his main property, he will still have resources elsewhere. His second strategy is to build political alliances. He begins making carefully calculated donations to government officials. He provides free grain to military units. He offers his house as a meeting place for local administrators. These actions are expensive, but they provide protection. Master Liu also invests in defensive measures for his compound. He hires more guards and builds higher walls. He digs secret passages and creates hidden rooms where his family can hide during attacks. He stores extra food and water in case of siege. But Master Liu's most important strategy is to maintain a low profile. He stops wearing expensive clothes in public. He travels in a simple cart instead of an elaborate sedan chair. He avoids large gatherings and public ceremonies where he might attract attention. This approach requires careful balance. Master Liu must show enough wealth to maintain his social position, but not so much that he becomes a target. He must be generous enough to buy protection, but not so generous that people think he has unlimited money. The stress of this constant balancing act affects Master Liu's health. He has trouble sleeping and has lost his appetite. His hair has started turning grey, and he looks older than his years. The responsibility of protecting his family and his property weighs heavily on him. Master Liu also worries about his tenants, like the farmer Chen Wei. He knows that many of his tenant farmers are starving, but he cannot help them without risking his own family's survival. The government demands taxes, regardless of local conditions. If Master Liu cannot collect rent from his tenants, he still must pay taxes to the government. This creates a moral dilemma for Master Liu. He is not a cruel man, but circumstances force him to make cruel choices. He must choose between helping his tenants and protecting his own family. There is no way to do both during the harsh winter of the Three Kingdoms period. Chen Wei and his family have been traveling south for 10 days. The journey is harder than they expected. The roads are icy and dangerous. Snow makes it difficult to see where they are going. The children are weak and cannot walk long distances. Each day, the family walks about 5 miles. This is much slower than Chen Wei hoped, but it is all they can manage. Chen Hua must be carried most of the way. Chen Bo tries to walk, but he needs frequent rest stops. They sleep outdoors every night, huddling together under their quilt. Chen Wei builds small fires for warmth, but firewood is scarce in winter. They often wake up covered with snow, cold and stiff. Food is their biggest problem. They brought grain for 20 days, but the journey is taking longer than expected. If they do not reach Wu territory soon, they will starve on the road. Chen Wei tries to find food along the way. He digs through snow looking for roots and nuts. He sets simple traps for rabbits and birds, but catches nothing. The winter landscape provides little food for desperate travelers. On the 11th day, disaster strikes. Chen Hua develops a fever and becomes very sick. She cannot walk at all and barely responds when spoken to. Li Mei carries her, but the extra weight slows the family even more. Chen Wei realizes they cannot continue traveling with a sick child. They need shelter and medicine, but they are in the middle of nowhere. with no village or town in sight. As evening approaches, Chen Wei makes a desperate decision. He sees smoke rising from a small house in the distance. Someone lives there. Maybe they will help, or maybe they will turn the family away. Chen Wei has no choice but to find out. The house belongs to an old widow named Granny Wu. She lives alone with her adult son, who is mentally disabled. Granny Wu is suspicious of strangers, but when she sees the sick child, her heart softens. "Come inside," she says. "The child needs warmth." Granny Wu's house is small but warm. She has a good fire going and soup cooking in a pot. She gives Chen Hua warm soup and wraps her in blankets. She also feeds the rest of the family their first hot meal in weeks. "Where are you going?" Granny Wu asks. Chen Wei explains their situation carefully. He does not want to say too much in case Granny Wu reports them to authorities. "We are looking for work in Wu territory," he says. "The taxes in Wei have become too high for poor farmers." Granny Wu nods understanding. Many people have passed through here with the same story. The war has made life very hard for ordinary people. Chen Hua's fever breaks during the night, and she begins to recover. Granny Wu says the family can stay for a few days until the child is stronger. This kindness probably saves Chen Hua's life. During their stay, Chen Wei learns important information about the road ahead. Granny Wu tells him that Wu territory is still 3 days' walk to the south. She also warns him about bandit groups that control parts of the road. There are 2 routes to Wu territory, Granny Wu explains. The main road is faster but more dangerous. Bandits watch for travelers with goods to steal. The mountain path is slower but safer. Bandits do not bother with people who have nothing of value. Chen Wei chooses the mountain path. His family has little to steal, so bandits might leave them alone. The path is more difficult, but survival is more important than speed. After 3 days of rest, Chen Hua is strong enough to travel again. Chen Wei thanks Granny Wu for her kindness. He offers to pay her, but she refuses. "Help the next family you meet," Granny Wu says. "That is enough payment." This encounter shows that even in the harsh world of the 3 Kingdoms period, some people still show kindness to strangers. Granny Wu's generosity helps Chen Wei's family survive their journey to a new life. Back in Luoyang, Yu Zhangjun, formerly Zhang Ming, make a discovery that could change everything. While organizing grain records, you find evidence of corruption in the supply system. Director Wang, who runs grain distribution for the eastern provinces, has been stealing supplies meant for the army. He sells the stolen grain to private merchants for personal profit. This theft explains why many military units are short of food. You discover this by noticing discrepancies in the records. Director Wang reports receiving 10,000 jin of grain from a certain district, but the district's records show they sent 15,000 jin. The missing 5,000 jin has been stolen. This is not a small amount. 5,000 jin of grain could feed 500 soldiers for 10 days. If Director Wang is stealing this much from just one district, he might be stealing much more from other areas. You face a difficult decision. Reporting corruption is dangerous. Director Wang has powerful friends who might retaliate against you. But not reporting it means soldiers will continue to go hungry while Director Wang gets rich. You also realize this information could be valuable. Director Wang would probably pay well to keep his secret safe. other officials might reward you for exposing corruption. Government enemies might use this information for their own purposes. Each choice has risks and benefits. Reporting corruption might make you a hero or might get you killed. Ignoring corruption is safer, but allows injustice to continue. Blackmailing Director Wang could make you rich, but would make you a criminal. You decide to gather more evidence before taking action. Over the next week, you carefully review records from other districts. You find the same pattern of missing grain in many places. Director Wang appears to be running a large-scale theft operation. You also discover that Director Wang is not working alone. Several other officials are involved in the scheme. Together, they have stolen enough grain to feed an entire army for months. This discovery puts you in extreme danger. You now know about a conspiracy that reaches high levels of government. If the conspirators discover that you know their secret, they will certainly kill you. But you also realize that this information could be your path to a better life. The right person would pay handsomely for evidence of such corruption. You just need to find someone powerful enough to protect you after you reveal what you know. As winter slowly gives way to early spring, all of our characters face turning points in their struggles. The choices they make in the coming days will determine whether they survive to see another year. Chen Wei and his family have finally reached Wu territory. They found a village that needs farm workers for the spring planting. The work is hard and the pay is low, but they will have food and shelter. Chen Wei must decide whether to reveal his true identity or continue living under a false name. You, as Zhang Jun the clerk, must decide what to do with your dangerous knowledge about government corruption. Revealing it could make you a hero or get you killed. Keeping silent means watching soldiers starve while officials get rich. General Wang has received a response to his letter requesting reinforcements. General Zhao has agreed to send 200 additional soldiers, but they will not arrive for a month. General Wang must find ways to keep his current soldiers alive and loyal until help arrives. Master Liu has survived the winter, but spring brings new challenges. The government is demanding even higher taxes for the spring military campaign. Local bandits are planning a major attack on wealthy families in the area. Master Liu must choose between fighting and fleeing. Each character has learned important lessons about survival during the Three Kingdoms period. Ordinary people must be ready to abandon everything and start over. Success and failure can change overnight. Trust is dangerous, but some risks must be taken. The war between Wei, Wu, and Shu continues with no end in sight. Each kingdom claims to be fighting for the good of China, but ordinary people pay the price for their ambitions. Farmers lose their land, merchants lose their goods, soldiers lose their lives, and even wealthy people lose their security. Yet people continue to struggle, adapt, and survive. They show remarkable courage in the face of impossible circumstances. They find ways to help each other despite the dangers. They maintain hope even when hope seems foolish. The sound of horses approaches once again in the distance. In the Three Kingdoms period, the sound of horses always means change is coming. Sometimes it brings good news, sometimes bad news, but it always means that the struggle for survival continues. You are Zhang Jun, the government clerk, and you sit in a dark alley behind the grain office. In your hands is a letter that could save thousands of starving soldiers or get you executed before sunset. Across from you sits a Wu Kingdom spy who has offered you enough gold to live like a king for the rest of your life. But the price is betraying your own country. You have exactly 1 minute to decide before the spy disappears forever into the crowded streets of Luoyang. Spring has arrived in Luoyang, but you barely notice the warming weather or the budding trees. For 3 weeks, you have carried the terrible burden of knowing about Director Wang's grain theft operation. Every day, you see reports of military units requesting emergency food supplies. Every day, you know that these soldiers are hungry because officials are stealing their rations. Your evidence is now complete and devastating. Director Wang and his conspirators have stolen enough grain to feed 20,000 soldiers for 2 months. This theft is not just corruption. It is treason that weakens Wei's ability to fight Wu and Shu. The problem is finding someone to tell who will not kill you for knowing too much. Director Wang has powerful friends in the government. If you report him to the wrong person, you might disappear quietly one night. But you also know that good officials exist who would act on this information. Yesterday, everything changed when a stranger approached you on the street. The man was well dressed and spoke with the accent of Wu territory. He claimed to be a silk merchant, but you suspected he was something more dangerous. Friend Jiang, the stranger said, using your false name, I have heard that you work with grain records. Perhaps we could have a business discussion that would benefit us both. You knew immediately what this meant. The man was a spy, and he wanted to buy information about Wei's grain supplies. This type of intelligence could help Wu plan military campaigns against Wei's weakest units. I am just a humble clerk, he replied carefully. I know nothing of value to merchants. The spy smiled. Humble clerks sometimes see important things. If you have information about grain shortages in military units, I would pay very well for such knowledge. The spy offered to meet you today behind the grain office. He promised to pay 500 gold pieces for detailed information about which way military units are short of supplies. This is more money than you could earn in 20 years as a clerk. Now you sit in the alley, waiting for the spy to arrive. You have brought copies of grain records that show exactly which units are starving. This information could help Wu win the war, but it would also mean betraying your own country and your own people. The spy appears exactly on time. He is a thin man with intelligent eyes and soft hands. He carries a leather bag that probably contains the promised gold. Do you have the information? He asks quietly. You hesitate. This decision will define the rest of your life. If you sell the information, you will be rich but also a traitor. If you refuse, you will remain poor but keep your honor. Before I decide, you say, I want to know what Wu will do with this information. The spy considers whether to answer honestly. Wu armies will use it to attack Wei units that are weak from hunger. Many Wei soldiers will die because they are too weak to fight effectively. This answer makes your decision easier. You think about General Wang and his starving soldiers. You think about all the Wei soldiers who are hungry because Director Wang stole their food. These are your people, even if their government is corrupt. I cannot sell you this information, you say finally. But I have a different proposal. The spy raises an eyebrow. What kind of proposal? You take a deep breath. Help me expose the corruption in Wei's grain system. Director Wang is stealing supplies meant for the army. If this corruption is exposed, Wei soldiers will be fed properly and the war will be fought more fairly. The spy looks surprised. You want Wu to help Wei solve its corruption problems? Why would we do that? Because a weak Wei army makes for a boring victory, you reply. Wu wants to prove it can defeat Wei in fair combat, not just beat starving soldiers. This argument appeals to the spy's sense of honor. In the Three Kingdoms period, military honor is important even among enemies. A victory over starving, weakened opponents brings no glory. Interesting, the spy says. How would this work? You explain your plan. The spy will deliver your corruption evidence to Wu officials, who will then send it to Wei through diplomatic channels. This way, the evidence will come from an external source, protecting you from retaliation. The spy agrees to consider your proposal. He gives you 3 days to decide whether to proceed with this plan or take his original offer of gold for military intelligence. After the spy leaves, you realize you have just committed yourself to a dangerous path. You are now involved in espionage, even if your goal is to help your own country. If anyone discovers your contact with a Wu spy, you will be executed for treason regardless of your motives. Meanwhile, Chen Wei and his family have spent 2 weeks in their new home in Wu territory. The village where they live is called Riverside Village, located near the Yangtze River in a fertile farming area. The village has about 200 people and 40 families. Chen Wei found work with a local farmer named Master Jiang, who needed help with spring planting. Master Jiang is not wealthy like Master Liu, but he owns about 100 acres of good farmland. He grows rice, which is the main crop in this warmer, wetter region. Rice farming is different from the millet farming Chen Wei knew in the north. Rice must be grown in flooded fields called paddies. These paddies require complex systems of dikes and canals to control water flow. The work is hard, but rice produces more food per acre than millet. Chen Wei's family lives in a small house provided by Master Jiang. The house has 2 rooms instead of 1, and the roof does not leak. There is a small garden where Li Mei can grow vegetables. The children are slowly gaining weight and strength. But adapting to life in Wu territory is not easy. The local dialect is different from what Chen Wei's family speaks. The food is different, more rice and fish, less millet and pork. The customs are different too. People here worship different local gods and celebrate different festivals. Most importantly, Chen Wei and his family must hide their true identity. They claim to be from a village destroyed by bandits, which explains why they have no possessions or connections. Chen Wei has taken the name Chen Nan, and his family uses false names as well. This deception is necessary but dangerous. If the local authorities discover that they are refugees from Wei territory, they might be arrested as spies. During the Three Kingdoms period, anyone from an enemy kingdom is automatically suspect. Chen Wei must also learn new farming techniques quickly. Rice farming requires different skills than millet farming. The timing of planting and harvesting is different. The tools are different. The way water is managed is completely different. Master Jiang is patient with Chen Wei's learning process, but he expects results. Spring planting season is short, and the rice must be planted at exactly the right time. If Chen Wei makes mistakes, the entire crop could fail. "Chen Nan," Master Jiang says one morning, "today we will transplant rice seedlings from the nursery beds to the main paddies. This is delicate work. The seedlings can die easily if handled wrong." Chen Wei watches carefully as Master Jiang demonstrates the proper technique. Each rice seedling must be planted at the correct depth and spacing. Too deep and it will not grow. Too shallow and it will die. Too close together and the plants will compete for nutrients. The work is backbreaking. Chen Wei must bend over in the muddy paddy water for hours at a time. His back aches and his legs cramp. But he is grateful to have work and food. His family is safe, and that is what matters most. Li Mei finds work helping Master Jiang's wife with household tasks. She cooks, cleans, and helps care for Master Jiang's elderly mother. Li Mei is good at this work, and Master Jiang's wife appreciates her help. The children are also adapting to their new life. Chen Bo helps with simple farm tasks, like feeding chickens and carrying water. Chen Hua is still weak from her winter illness, but she is slowly getting stronger. Both children are learning the local dialect quickly, as children do. However, Chen Wei faces a moral dilemma. Master Jiang is a good employer who treats his workers fairly, but Chen Wei is living a lie, and this deception troubles him. Should he tell Master Jiang the truth about his identity? Or should he continue the deception to protect his family? One evening, Chen Wei overhears a conversation that makes his decision urgent. Two local officials are visiting Master Jiang to discuss military recruitment. They are looking for men to join the Wu army for the spring campaign against Wei. "Master Jiang," says one official, "we need 5 men from this village. The army is planning a major offensive against Wei territory. Your tenant farmers are strong and would make good soldiers." Master Jiang looks uncomfortable. "Honored officials, most of my workers have families. Taking them now would ruin the spring planting. The war is more important than 1 year's rice crop," the official replies. "Choose 5 men, or we will choose for you." Chen Wei realizes he might be forced to fight against his own birth kingdom. This would be the ultimate betrayal, taking up arms against Wei, where he was born and raised. But refusing military service would raise questions about his loyalty to Wu. That night, Chen Wei discusses this problem with Li Mei. They must decide whether to reveal their true identity or risk being forced to fight against Wei. "Husband," Li Mei says, "maybe it is time to tell Master Jiang the truth. He is a good man. Perhaps he will help us." Chen Wei considers this carefully. Master Jiang has been kind to them, but revealing their identity is extremely risky. If Master Jiang reports them to authorities, the entire family could be imprisoned or executed. General Wang Shuang has received his promised reinforcements, but they are not what he expected. Instead of 200 experienced soldiers, he received 150 raw recruits and 50 soldiers transferred from other units. Many of the recruits are farmers with no military training. The transferred soldiers are troublemakers that other commanders wanted to get rid of. Training these new soldiers is a major challenge. The recruits do not know how to use weapons properly. They do not understand military discipline. They are afraid of combat and homesick for their families. General Wang assigns his experienced soldiers to train the recruits. But this takes time away from other important tasks, like patrolling territory and maintaining equipment. The training process also reveals how much food and supplies the new soldiers will need. The transferred soldiers create different problems. They are experienced fighters, but they have bad attitudes and poor discipline. Some are bullies who pick fights with other soldiers. Others are thieves who steal from local civilians. A few are cowards who fled from previous battles. General Wang must somehow turn this mixed group into an effective fighting unit. He has only 2 weeks before his orders require him to attack the town of Nanyang. With untrained recruits and troublesome transfers, this mission seems impossible. Captain Chen, one of General Wang's remaining experienced officers, suggests a harsh training program. General, we must be strict with these new soldiers. Fear of punishment might make them fight better than love of country. But General Wang knows that fear alone is not enough. Soldiers who fight only because they are afraid of punishment will run away when the battle becomes difficult. He needs soldiers who will fight for each other and for victory. General Wang decides to try a different approach. Instead of harsh punishment, he focuses on building loyalty and unit pride. He tells the new soldiers stories about the brave deeds of their predecessors. He explains why their mission is important for protecting their families and homeland. He also makes sure the soldiers are well fed and equipped. Nothing destroys morale faster than hunger and poor equipment. General Wang uses his own money to buy extra food and to repair weapons and armor. The training shows mixed results. Some recruits respond well and show promise as soldiers. Others remain frightened and ineffective. The transferred soldiers gradually accept their new unit, but some continue to cause problems. During training exercises, General Wang notices that his best soldiers are becoming frustrated with the poor performance of the new recruits. This creates tension within the unit that could be dangerous in battle. Sergeant Liu, a veteran with 10 years of experience, speaks for many of the experienced soldiers. General, these recruits will get us all killed. They do not know how to fight. They do not know how to follow orders. They will panic and run when the battle starts. General Wang understands this concern, but he has no choice. These are the soldiers he has been given, and he must make them work. Sergeant Liu, every veteran was once a recruit. We must teach them what we know and trust them to learn quickly. The real test comes when General Wang receives scouting reports about Nanyang. The Shu defenders have been reinforced and now number over 1,500 soldiers. The town's defenses have been strengthened with new walls and weapon emplacements. General Wang realizes that attacking Nanyang with his current force would be suicide. He has only 450 soldiers, many of them untrained. The enemy has more than 3 times as many soldiers and the advantage of defending prepared positions. General Wang faces the same impossible choice as before. He can attack and likely lose his entire unit. He can refuse orders and face court-martial. Or he can find a creative solution that might satisfy his superiors while keeping his soldiers alive. This time, General Wang chooses deception. He writes a report claiming that his scouts have discovered a major Shu army approaching Nanyang from the south. This fictional army threatens to trap General Wang's unit if he attacks the town. Honored General Zhao, he writes, My scouts report that 2,000 Shu reinforcements are marching toward Nanyang. If I attack the town now, my unit will be caught between the town defenders and this relief army. I request permission to withdraw and await a better opportunity. This lie might save his soldiers' lives, but it is also extremely dangerous. If General Zhao sends other scouts to verify the report, they will find no Shu relief army. General Wang could be executed for filing false reports. But General Wang believes the risk is worth taking. His duty is to preserve his soldiers for battles they can win, not sacrifice them in hopeless assaults. Sometimes, protecting your men requires breaking the rules. Master Liu has survived the winter, but spring brings new dangers. The government has announced the largest tax increase in decades to fund the spring military campaign. Local bandits have grown bolder and are planning coordinated attacks on wealthy families. Master Liu's own servants are showing signs of disloyalty. Master Liu realizes he cannot face these threats alone. He needs allies who can provide protection and share the costs of defending against bandits and excessive taxation. Master Liu arranges a secret meeting with 4 other wealthy landowners in the region. They meet at night in an abandoned temple outside the city. Each man brings only one trusted servant as a guard. The 5 landowners represent most of the wealth in their region. Together, they own thousands of acres of farmland and employ hundreds of workers. If they cooperate, they have enough resources to protect themselves. If they remain divided, they might all be destroyed. Master Liu speaks first. Honored friends, we face common threats that none of us can handle alone. I propose that we form a mutual defense alliance. Master Chen, who owns large silk workshops, nods agreement. The bandits have already attacked 3 wealthy families this spring. They are becoming organized and bold. Next, they will come for us. Master Wang, who controls the region's salt trade, adds his concerns. The government taxes are becoming impossible to pay. If we do not find ways to reduce our tax burden, we will be ruined. Master Zhao and Master Sun, both large landowners, like Master Liu, express similar worries. They all face the same problems and realize they need each other's help. The 5 men spend hours discussing their alliance. They agree to share the cost of hiring mercenary guards to protect all their properties. They will coordinate their tax payments to avoid competing against each other in government auctions. They will share information about bandit movements and government policies. Most importantly, they agree to help each other in emergencies. If bandits attack one member's property, the others will send assistance. If the government targets one member for excessive taxation, the others will use their influence to help. This alliance is illegal under Wei law, which forbids private individuals from forming military organizations. But Master Liu and his allies believe they have no choice. The government cannot protect them, so they must protect themselves. The alliance also includes plans for corruption and bribery. The members will pool their money to bribe government officials for favorable treatment. They will use their connections to influence tax assessments and military recruitment quotas. Master Liu volunteers to make the first bribe payment to Director Zhang, the regional tax collector. If Director Zhang can be bought, he might reduce the tax burden on all alliance members. I will offer Director Zhang 1,000 silver pieces to reduce our taxes by 20%, Master Liu says. This will save us more money than the bribe costs. The other alliance members agreed to contribute to this bribe fund. Corruption is expensive, but it is cheaper than paying full taxes or losing everything to bandits. However, the alliance also creates new risks for Master Liu. If the government discovers the alliance, all members will be arrested for treason. If one member betrays the others, everyone will suffer. If the alliance fails to stop bandit attacks, Master Liu will have wasted money and revealed his desperate situation. Master Liu returns home, feeling both hopeful and worried. The alliance gives him powerful allies, but it also makes him part of a conspiracy against the government. In the Three Kingdoms period, such conspiracies are punishable by death for all participants and their families. The next morning, Master Liu meets with his estate manager, Zhao Ping, to discuss implementing the alliance's plans. Zhao Ping is loyal but worried about the legal risks. Master, Zhao Ping says, this alliance could solve our problems, but it could also destroy us. Are you certain we should take such risks? Master Liu has thought about this question all night. Zhao Ping, we face destruction either way. If we do nothing, bandits and taxes will ruin us. If we work with others, we have a chance to survive. I choose to fight rather than surrender. This conversation is overheard by one of Master Liu's servants, a man named Wang who has been acting suspiciously lately. Wang has been asking questions about Master Liu's business and spending time with strangers in town. Master Liu suspects Wang might be a spy for bandits or government officials. Master Liu faces another difficult decision. Should he confront Wang directly? Should he quietly dismiss him? Should he use Wang to spread false information to his enemies? Each choice has risks, and the wrong decision could expose the alliance or endanger Master Liu's family. As spring fully arrives, all three kingdoms prepare for renewed warfare. The winter pause in fighting is over, and armies begin moving toward their objectives. This military activity affects everyone in our story, regardless of their station in life. In Wei territory, the government mobilizes for a major offensive against Wu positions along the Yangtze River. This requires massive amounts of grain, weapons, and soldiers. The mobilization puts pressure on everyone from farmers to wealthy landowners to provide resources for the war effort. Wu Kingdom prepares its own offensive against Wei's northern provinces. Wu armies are well fed and equipped, partly because they have captured supplies from Wei units weakened by Director Wang's grain theft. The Wu offensive threatens to overrun areas where people like General Wang are trying to defend. Shu Kingdom, meanwhile, plans to attack both Wei and Wu while they are fighting each other. Shu's strategy is to let its enemies weaken themselves in battle, then strike at their vulnerable positions. This three-way conflict makes the military situation extremely complex and dangerous. You, as Zhang Jun the clerk, see the mobilization from inside the government bureaucracy. Grain shipments are being redirected to military units. Civilian rations are being cut to feed soldiers. The strain on Wei's resources is enormous, and Director Wang's theft makes the situation even worse. Chen Wei, now Chen Nan, watches Wu armies march past his village toward the front lines. The soldiers look confident and well-equipped, but Chen Wei knows these soldiers are marching to fight against people from his homeland. This creates complex emotions of guilt, fear, and sadness. General Wang receives new orders to support the spring offensive by attacking Shu supply lines. This mission is less dangerous than assaulting Nanyang, but it still requires his untrained soldiers to fight experienced enemies. General Wang must find ways to use his weak unit effectively in a major campaign. Master Liu and his alliance face increased demands for taxes and supplies to support the Wei War effort. The government wants more grain, more money, and more workers for the army. The alliance must find ways to meet these demands without bankrupting its members. All of our characters realize that the spring campaign will determine their fate for the rest of the year. Military victory or defeat will affect everyone's life. The war is no longer something happening in distant places. It is coming to their homes and communities. The spring of 221 AD will be remembered as a turning point in the Three Kingdoms period. The decisions made by rulers, generals, and ordinary people during this season will shape the future of China. Our characters are part of this great historical moment, even though they are just trying to survive. As spring progresses, the paths of our different characters begin to intersect in unexpected ways. The grain corruption investigation, the farmer's new life, the general's military situation, and the rich man's alliance are all connected to the larger patterns of war and survival. Zhang Jun's evidence of grain theft could help General Wang's starving soldiers get proper supplies. Chen Wei's knowledge of Wei military practices could be valuable to Wu commanders planning their offensive. Master Liu's wealth and connections could influence government policies that affect everyone. But none of our characters yet realize how their individual struggles are part of a larger pattern. They are focused on their immediate survival and do not see the bigger picture. This limited perspective is realistic for ordinary people during chaotic historical periods. The spring campaign will force these connections to become visible. Decisions made by each character will affect the others in ways they cannot predict. The interconnected nature of society during the Three Kingdoms period means that no one's fate is entirely their own. The spring of reckoning has arrived, and everyone must face the consequences of their winter choices. Survival will require not just individual strength, but also the ability to understand and adapt to rapidly changing circumstances. The sound of war drums echoes across the Chinese countryside. The Three Kingdoms are mobilizing for the campaigns that will determine their future. You are General Wang Shuang, and your worst nightmare has come true. Your untrained soldiers face their first real battle in just 2 hours. Across the valley, 800 Shu warriors prepare their weapons and sharpen their spears. Your 450 men include farmers who have never killed anyone and troublemakers who might run at the first sign of danger. But retreat is impossible. Wu armies have cut off your escape route. Today, you must turn ordinary people into warriors, or watch them all die in the mud of a foreign battlefield. The morning mist rises from the Hanshui River Valley as General Wang Shuang surveys the battlefield that will determine his fate. For 3 days, his unit has been trapped between Shu forces and the advancing Wu army. What began as a routine mission to disrupt Shu supply lines has become a fight for survival. General Wang's orders were simple: attack Shu supply convoys moving along the river road. These convoys carry grain and weapons to Shu armies fighting Wei forces further north. Disrupting these supplies would help Wei's main offensive succeed. But intelligence reports were wrong. Instead of lightly guarded supply wagons, General Wang found a major Shu military depot defended by veteran soldiers. Instead of a quick raid, he faces a pitched battle against superior numbers. The Shu commander is General Ma Chao, a famous warrior known for his fierce cavalry charges and tactical brilliance. Ma Chao has 800 experienced soldiers, including 200 cavalry troops mounted on war horses. His infantry carries long spears, crossbows, and steel swords. General Wang has only 450 soldiers, and many of them have never seen real combat. His 150 recruits are farmers and craftsmen who joined the army just 6 weeks ago. They know basic weapons training, but they have never faced an enemy trying to kill them. The 50 transferred soldiers are more experienced, but they have discipline problems and questionable loyalty. Some are deserters from other units who might run away when the battle becomes difficult. Others are criminals who joined the army to avoid prison sentences. Only General Wang's 250 veteran soldiers are truly reliable. These men have fought in previous battles and understand military tactics, but even they are tired from months of campaigning and short rations due to the grain shortage caused by Director Wang's corruption. General Wang must deploy his forces carefully to have any chance of victory. He positions his veterans in the center of his battle line, where they can provide backbone for the inexperienced soldiers. He places recruits on the flanks, supported by small groups of veterans who can rally them if they panic. The transferred soldiers present a special problem. General Wang cannot trust them in critical positions, but he needs every fighter. He assigns them to guard the camp and protect the supply wagons. This keeps them away from the main battle, while still using their military skills. Captain Chen, General Wang's most trusted officer, approaches with the final battle report. General, the men are ready. The recruits are frightened but determined. The veterans understand their duty. Even some of the transferred soldiers seem eager to prove themselves. General Wang nods, but he knows that pre-battle courage often disappears when the fighting begins. Captain Chen, remember our plan. If the recruits break and run, do not try to stop them. Rally the veterans and fight a defensive retreat to the river. This plan accepts that General Wang might lose the battle, but it focuses on saving as many soldiers as possible. In the Three Kingdoms period, experienced soldiers are more valuable than territory. A general who loses land but preserves his army can fight again. A general who loses his army has nothing left. The battle begins at dawn with a Shu cavalry charge led by General Ma Chao himself. 200 horsemen thunder across the valley, their spears glinting in the morning sun. The sound of hoofbeats shakes the ground like an earthquake. General Wang's recruits have never faced a cavalry charge. The sight of armed riders charging toward them at full speed is terrifying. Some recruits drop their weapons and start to run. Others freeze in place, unable to move or think. But the veterans hold their ground. They form spear walls designed to stop cavalry attacks. Long spears point outward at horse chest height, creating a barrier of sharp steel points. Behind the spears, crossbow soldiers shoot at the approaching riders. The cavalry charge hits the Wei battle line with tremendous force. Horses scream as they impale themselves on spear points. Riders fall from their saddles, struck by crossbow bolts. But the charge also breaks through Wei defenses in several places, creating gaps in the battle line. General Ma Chao leads the charge personally, wielding a long spear with deadly skill. He strikes down 3 Wei soldiers before Captain Chen moves to challenge him. The 2 officers fight a fierce duel while chaos rages around them. General Wang sees that his battle line is collapsing. The recruits on the right flank have broken and are running toward the river. Some veterans are trying to rally them, but most of the inexperienced soldiers are in full retreat. Sound the horn for defensive retreat, General Wang shouts to his signaller. The horn call tells his soldiers to fall back to prepared positions while fighting delaying actions. This is the critical moment of the battle. If the retreat becomes a panicked rout, General Wang's entire army will be destroyed. If his soldiers can maintain discipline while falling back, they might escape with acceptable losses. The veteran soldiers respond well to the retreat order. They form small groups that cover each other while moving toward the river. They use shields and spears to hold off pursuing Shu soldiers. They maintain formation even under extreme pressure. But many of the transferred soldiers panic when they see others retreating. Instead of conducting an orderly withdrawal, they abandon their positions and run. Their flight spreads panic to nearby units and threatens to collapse the entire retreat. General Wang must make a terrible choice. He can try to rally the fleeing soldiers and risk his entire army, or he can abandon the stragglers and save the soldiers who are still fighting effectively. General Wang chooses to save those who can be saved. He orders his veterans to continue the retreat while leaving the panicked soldiers to their fate. This decision will haunt him for the rest of his life, but it preserves the core of his fighting force. The retreat to the river takes 3 hours of running battles. Shu soldiers pursue aggressively, but General Wang's veterans fight skilled delaying actions. They use terrain features like hills and streams to slow the pursuit. They set ambushes that inflict casualties on their pursuers. By midday, General Wang reaches the river with about 200 surviving soldiers. He has lost nearly half his army, including most of the recruits and transferred soldiers. Captain Chen is among the survivors, wounded but alive. Many of his best veteran soldiers are dead or missing. General Ma Chao does not pursue across the river. His own forces have taken significant casualties, and he needs to reorganize before continuing the campaign. The battle is over, but both sides have paid a heavy price. General Wang surveys his surviving soldiers. They are exhausted, bloodied, and demoralized. Many have lost friends and comrades. All have seen the brutal reality of 3 kingdoms warfare. Men, General Wang says to his survivors, "Today we faced a superior enemy and lived to fight another day. Remember the lessons of this battle. Remember the names of those who did not return. We will honor their sacrifice by becoming better soldiers." This speech is necessary but hollow. General Wang knows that his military career is probably over. He failed to complete his mission and lost half his army. His superiors will demand explanations and might court-martial him for incompetence. But General Wang also knows that his soldiers are alive because of his decisions. A more aggressive general might have won a glorious victory, or suffered total destruction. General Wang chose survival over glory, and his men will see their families again. While General Wang fights for survival on the battlefield, you, Zhang Jun, face your own life or death struggle in the corridors of power. 3 days ago, you made your decision about the Wu spy's offer. Instead of selling military intelligence, you chose to expose the grain corruption that weakens Wei's army. The Wu spy, who calls himself Master Li, agreed to help deliver your evidence to Wei officials through diplomatic channels. This plan protects you from direct involvement while ensuring the corruption is exposed. But it also means trusting a foreign agent with information that could get you executed. Master Li explained how the plan would work. Wu diplomats will send your evidence to Wei's emperor as part of ongoing peace negotiations. They will claim the information came from Wu intelligence sources who want Wei to strengthen its army for fair combat. This approach appeals to notions of military honor while concealing your role. The evidence you provided shows massive grain theft, Master Li told you. If Wei's emperor acts on this information, thousands of soldiers will receive proper food supplies. Wu gains honor by helping an enemy solve its problems. You remain safe because no one knows the evidence came from you. But you have spent 3 sleepless nights worrying about this plan. What if Master Li is lying and plans to use your evidence to harm Wei? What if Wu diplomats change the plan and reveal your identity? What if Director Wang discovers your role and has you killed? Your worries increase when you arrive at work to find unusual activity in the grain office. Government investigators are examining records and questioning employees. Director Wang is nowhere to be seen, and his office door is sealed with official stamps. Your supervisor, Director Chen, calls you into his office. Director Chen looks worried and speaks in hushed tones. Zhang Jun, he says, serious accusations have been made about grain theft in our department. Investigators from the Imperial Palace are reviewing all our records. You must be very careful about what you say and do. This news terrifies you. If Imperial investigators are involved, the corruption scandal has reached the highest levels of government. The Emperor himself might be directing the investigation. This means both great danger and great opportunity. Director Chen, you ask carefully, what kind of accusations have been made? Director Chen lowers his voice even more. Someone has provided evidence that Director Wang and others have been stealing grain meant for military units. The evidence includes detailed records showing exactly how much grain was stolen and where it went. You realize that Master Li has already delivered your evidence to Wei officials. The plan is working, but much faster than expected. This rapid action means less time for you to prepare for the consequences. What will happen to those involved in the theft, you ask? Director Chen's expression is grim. Stealing military supplies during wartime is treason. The penalty is death for the main conspirators and severe punishment for anyone who helped them. This statement hits you like a physical blow. If investigators discover your role in gathering evidence, they might assume you were part of the theft operation. Your knowledge of the corruption could be seen as proof of complicity rather than evidence of honesty. You must now navigate an extremely dangerous situation. You need to appear surprised by the corruption revelations, while also positioning yourself as a loyal employee who would never tolerate such crimes. You must help the investigation without revealing how much you already know. Director Chen, you say with feigned shock, I had no idea such terrible crimes were happening in our department. How can we help the investigators find the truth? Director Chen studies your face carefully. Zhang Jun, you have worked closely with grain records. Did you ever notice anything suspicious about Director Wang's activities? This question is a trap. If you say no, you appear unobservant or incompetent. If you say yes, you raise questions about why you did not report your suspicions earlier. You must find a middle path that seems honest without revealing too much. Director Chen, I sometimes noticed small discrepancies in the records, but I assumed they were honest mistakes. Director Wang always explained them in ways that seemed reasonable. I never imagined they might be part of a deliberate theft scheme. This answer portrays you as observant but trusting, competent but not suspicious. It also provides a foundation for helping the investigation without claiming prior knowledge of the full conspiracy. Director Chen nods approvingly. That is exactly what you should tell the investigators. They will want to question all employees who worked with grain records. Be honest about what you observed, but do not speculate about things you do not know for certain. Over the next week, you are questioned 3 times by different groups of investigators. Each session is terrifying, but your careful preparation pays off. You provide helpful information about record discrepancies while maintaining your cover as an innocent employee. The investigation moves quickly once it begins. Director Wang is arrested at his home and charged with treason. Several other officials are also arrested. The stolen grain is traced to private warehouses where it was sold to black market merchants. The emperor himself issues a decree promising that military units will receive full grain rations. Special imperial inspectors are assigned to monitor grain distribution and prevent future theft. The entire system is reorganized to include multiple checks and balances. You realize that your dangerous gamble has succeeded beyond your wildest hopes. The corruption is exposed, soldiers will be properly fed, and you remain safe and undetected. Your decision to work with the Wu spy has helped your own country while protecting your own life. But success brings new challenges. You are promoted to a higher position with more responsibility and better pay. This promotion is good for your career, but it also brings more scrutiny. Higher-ranking officials face more attention and more pressure. You must also live with the knowledge that you worked with enemy agents, even for good purposes. This secret will always be a vulnerability that could be used against you if discovered. In the Three Kingdoms period, even patriotic actions can be twisted into accusations of treason. Chen Wei, still living under the false name Chen Nan, faces the crisis he has been dreading. Wu military recruiters have arrived in Riverside Village to conscript soldiers for the spring campaign. Every able-bodied man between 18 and 40 years old must report for military evaluation. Master Jiang, Chen Wei's employer, tries to protect his workers by claiming they are essential for rice production. But the military recruiters are not interested in agricultural concerns. Master Jiang, says Captain Liu, the recruitment officer, Wu needs soldiers more than it needs rice. The war against Wei is entering a critical phase. Every man must do his duty for the kingdom. Captain Liu examines the men of the village one by one. He rejects older men, disabled men, and those who are obviously too weak for military service. But he selects most men between 20 and 35 years old for immediate military training. Chen Wei knows he will be selected unless he reveals some disqualifying condition. He could claim to be older than he appears, but the recruiters are experienced at judging age. He could pretend to be sick or disabled, but military doctors will examine all recruits. His only real option is to reveal his true identity as a refugee from Wei territory. Wu authorities might exempt him from military service because forcing him to fight against his birth kingdom could create loyalty problems. But revealing his identity could also lead to arrest as a spy or collaborator. When Captain Liu calls Chen Nan for evaluation, Chen Wei steps forward with his heart pounding. The recruitment officer looks him over approvingly. Good build, strong hands, steady eyes, Captain Liu notes. You will make an excellent soldier. Report to the training camp tomorrow morning. Chen Wei knows this is his moment of truth. He must either accept conscription or reveal his secret. Fighting for Wu against Wei would betray his birth kingdom and possibly harm people from his home village. But refusing military service would expose his family to deadly danger. Honored Captain, Chen Wei says quietly, there is something you should know about my background. Captain Liu raises an eyebrow. What kind of background? Chen Wei takes a deep breath. I am originally from Wei territory. My family fled south to escape starvation and excessive taxation. I did not want to cause problems, so I took a new name and tried to live quietly. This revelation causes a stir among the villagers. Many are shocked to learn that their neighbor is a Wei refugee. Some look suspicious, wondering if Chen Wei might be a spy. Others show sympathy for his difficult situation. Captain Liu considers this information carefully. Wu law requires refugee registration, and Chen Wei has been living illegally under a false identity. This is a serious crime that could result in imprisonment or deportation. Chen Nan, or whatever your real name is, Captain Liu says sternly, you have committed fraud by living under false identity. However, Wu welcomes refugees who flee Wei oppression. Your situation requires special handling. Captain Liu decides to send Chen Wei to regional authorities for proper refugee processing. This means traveling to the provincial capital for questioning and documentation. The process could take weeks or months, and the outcome is uncertain. Your family will remain here while you are processed, Captain Liu explains. If authorities approve your refugee status, you will be allowed to return. If they reject your application, you will be deported back to Wei territory. This news devastates Chen Wei. He will be separated from his family during the dangerous evaluation process. Li Mei and the children will be left alone in a village where their true identity is now known. If Chen Wei is deported, his family might be punished for harboring a Wei refugee. But Chen Wei has no choice. Attempting to flee would only make things worse. He must trust the Wu refugee system to treat his case fairly. Master Zhang intervenes on Chen Wei's behalf. Captain Liu, this man has been an honest worker and good neighbor. His family needs him for the spring planting. Perhaps he could remain here under supervision while his case is reviewed. Captain Liu considers this suggestion. The regional authorities must make decisions about refugee cases, but I will include your recommendation in my report. Master Zhang's word carry weight in this district. That evening, Chen Wei prepares to leave for the provincial capital. He does not know when he will see his family again, or whether they will be safe in his absence. Li Mei tries to be brave, but she cannot hide her tears. "Husband," she whispers, "what will happen to us if they send you back to Wei?" Chen Wei has no answer. If he is deported, his family faces an impossible choice. They can return to Wei with him and face starvation and persecution, or they can remain in Wu without legal status and risk imprisonment as illegal immigrants. "Li Mei," Chen Wei says, "if something happens to me, take the children and go to Granny Wu. She helped us before and might help again. Live quietly and trust that heaven will protect good people." These words provide little comfort, but they are all Chen Wei can offer. In the Three Kingdoms period, ordinary people have little control over their fate. They can only make the best choices available and hope for mercy from those in power. Chen Wei leaves the village the next morning with 4 other men who have legal problems requiring official review. They travel in a cart guarded by Wu soldiers. The journey to the provincial capital will take 5 days through territory where Wei and Wu armies are actively fighting. As the cart rolls away from Riverside Village, Chen Wei watches his family growing smaller in the distance. He does not know if he will ever see them again. This uncertainty is the price of seeking safety in a foreign kingdom during wartime. Master Liu's alliance with other wealthy landowners seemed like the perfect solution to his problems. By pooling resources and sharing risks, the 5 conspirators believed they could protect themselves from bandits, excessive taxation, and government persecution. But success made them overconfident, and overconfidence led to catastrophic mistakes. The Alliance's first major operation was bribing Director Zhang, the regional tax collector, to reduce their tax assessments. Master Liu delivered 1,000 silver pieces to Director Zhang in exchange for a 20% reduction in taxes for all Alliance members. The bribe worked perfectly. Director Zhang issued new tax assessments that saved the Alliance members thousands of silver pieces. The reduced taxes allowed them to hire more guards and strengthen their defenses against bandits. Encouraged by this success, the Alliance decided to expand their operations. They began bribing military recruitment officers to exempt their workers from conscription. They bribed judges to rule in their favor in legal disputes. They even bribed government inspectors to overlook their illegal defensive preparations. But their biggest mistake was trusting Wang Er, Master Liu's servant, who had been acting suspiciously. The Alliance members decided to use Wang Er as a messenger to coordinate their activities. They gave him detailed information about their plans, their finances, and their illegal activities. Wang Er was indeed a spy, but not for bandits or government officials. He was working for Iron Scar Liu, the bandit leader who had attacked merchant Jiang Ming earlier in the year. Iron Scar Liu had planted spies in several wealthy households to gather intelligence for coordinated attacks. Wang Er provided Iron Scar Liu with complete information about the Alliance's membership, their meeting schedules, their financial resources, and their defensive preparations. This intelligence allowed the bandits to plan a devastating surprise attack. The attack comes on a market day when the Alliance members are meeting in Master Liu's compound to discuss their next bribery targets. All 5 wealthy landowners are present, along with their estate managers and personal guards. The compound seems secure, with high walls and armed sentries. But Iron Scar Liu has 200 bandits, many of them deserters from various armies. They attack simultaneously from 3 directions, using information provided by Wang Er to identify weak points in the compound's defenses. The bandits overwhelm the guards quickly. Master Liu's expensive mercenaries are skilled fighters, but they are outnumbered 4 to 1. The walls that seemed so protective become traps that prevent escape. Master Liu realizes immediately that Wang Er has betrayed them. The bandits know exactly where to find the Alliance members and their valuables. They move through the compound with the confidence of people who have detailed intelligence. Master Chen, Master Liu shouts to his Alliance partner, "We have been betrayed. Wang Er sold us to the bandits. But it is too late for this knowledge to help." The bandits capture all 5 Alliance members and their estate managers. They also seize large amounts of gold, silver, and valuable goods stored in the compound. Iron Scar Liu personally interrogates the captured Alliance members. He is particularly interested in their bribery activities and government connections. "Master Liu," Iron Scar Liu says with a cruel smile, "my spy tells me you have been bribing officials throughout the region. This information will be very valuable to me." Iron Scar Liu plans to use the Alliance's bribery network for his own purposes. By threatening to expose corrupt officials, he can force them to cooperate with his bandit operations. The Alliance's carefully built network of corruption becomes a tool for their enemies. The bandits also seize the Alliance's financial records, which contain detailed information about their illegal activities. These records provide evidence that could be used to blackmail the Alliance members or sold to government prosecutors. Master Liu realizes that his attempt to protect his wealth has led to total disaster. Not only has he lost his property to bandits, but his illegal activities are now documented and can be used against him indefinitely. Iron Scar Liu offers the Alliance members a cruel choice. They can pay enormous ransoms to buy their freedom, or they can work for the bandit organization as inside agents. Either choice would ruin them financially and make them permanent tools of criminal organizations. "Master Liu," Iron Scar Liu explains, "your ransom is 10,000 silver pieces. If you cannot pay, you will work for me by providing information about government activities and helping plan future raids. This ransom is more than Master Liu's total liquid assets. Paying it would require selling most of his land and property, but refusing to pay would make him a criminal collaborator and traitor to his own class." Master Liu and his Alliance partners face the complete destruction of everything they tried to protect: their wealth, their social status, their family security, and their personal freedom are all forfeit. The Alliance that was supposed to save them has become the instrument of their destruction. The irony is devastating. Master Liu's fear of losing his wealth led him to take risks that guaranteed its loss. His attempt to buy safety through corruption made him vulnerable to more dangerous enemies. His alliance with other wealthy men created a larger target for bandits to attack. This disaster illustrates a fundamental truth about life during the Three Kingdoms period. Security cannot be bought through wealth, corruption, or alliances. The constant warfare and social chaos make everyone vulnerable, regardless of their resources or connections. Master Liu must now choose between bankruptcy and treason. Either choice will destroy his old life and force him to start over in circumstances he never imagined. The wealthy landowner, who seemed so secure at the beginning of our story, has become as desperate as the poorest refugee. As spring turns towards summer in the year 221 AD, the separate stories of our characters begin to intersect in ways none of them could have predicted. The grain corruption investigation, the military campaigns, the refugee crisis, and the bandit attacks are all part of the same chaotic pattern that defines the Three Kingdoms period. Zhang Jun's success in exposing grain corruption helps General Wang's surviving soldiers receive better supplies. The improved rations allow General Wang to rebuild his unit and continue fighting effectively. But General Wang does not know that a humble clerk and a Wu spy made his soldiers' survival possible. Chen Wei's refugee case is complicated by the fact that he fled from the same region where General Wang is fighting. Wu authorities are suspicious of refugees who come from active war zones, fearing they might be Wei spies or collaborators. Chen Wei's fate depends partly on how the war between Wei and Wu develops. Master Liu's capture by bandits affects the entire regional economy. Iron Scar Liu now controls much of the area's wealth and can disrupt government operations through his network of corruption and intimidation. This creates more chaos that makes life harder for everyone. The Wu spy Master Li, who helped Zhang Jun expose corruption, also gathers intelligence about Wei's weakened state due to the grain theft and bandit activities. This information helps Wu plan more effective military campaigns against Wei territory. All of these interconnections show how individual choices during wartime create ripple effects that influence many other people's lives. A clerk's decision to expose corruption, a farmer's choice to flee his homeland, a general's tactical decisions, and a rich man's alliance all become part of the larger historical pattern. But our characters remain focused on their immediate survival challenges. They do not see how their individual struggles fit into the broader sweep of Three Kingdoms history. This limited perspective is realistic for people living through chaotic times. Zhang Jun worries about maintaining his cover as a loyal government employee while secretly celebrating his role in exposing corruption. Chen Wei worries about his family's safety while waiting for Wu authorities to decide his fate. General Wang worries about rebuilding his shattered unit while facing new, impossible missions. Master Liu worries about choosing between bankruptcy and treason, while Iron Scar Liu decides his fate. Each character faces intensely personal dilemmas that seem disconnected from the other's problems, yet their fates are intertwined by the larger forces of war, politics, and social change that define the Three Kingdoms period. The decisions each character makes will affect not only their own future, but also the futures of people they will never meet. As summer approaches, all of our characters must adapt to new circumstances created by the spring campaign's aftermath. The battles have been fought, the investigations have been completed, and the refugee cases have been processed. Now they must live with the consequences of their choices and prepare for whatever challenges the future may bring. The Three Kingdoms period continues its relentless demands on everyone who lives through it. Survival requires constant adaptation, careful decision-making, and acceptance that circumstances can change overnight. Our characters have learned these lessons through bitter experience, but their education in survival is far from complete. The only certainty is that uncertainty itself is the defining characteristic of life during the Three Kingdoms period. Those who survive are those who learn to thrive in chaos rather than long for stability that no longer exists. You are Master Liu, and you sit in a dark prison cell with your hands chained to the wall. Through the small window, you can see your own compound burning in the distance. Iron Scar Liu stands outside your cell, holding a contract that will either save your life or damn your soul. The contract offers you freedom in exchange for becoming a permanent spy against your own people. You have until sunrise to decide whether to die with honor or live as a traitor. The choice will echo through your family's name for generations. 3 days have passed since Iron Scar Liu's bandits captured Master Liu and his alliance partners. The wealthy landowners are imprisoned in a cave complex hidden deep in the mountains, far from any government forces that might rescue them. Master Liu's cell is carved from solid rock and sealed with iron bars. A small window provides the only light and air. Water drips constantly from the ceiling, creating puddles on the stone floor. The sound of dripping echoes endlessly in the darkness. Iron Scar Liu has been methodical in his interrogation of the captives. He wants detailed information about government officials who accept bribes, military commanders who can be corrupted, and wealthy families who might pay ransoms. The bandits plan to use this intelligence to build a criminal empire that spans multiple provinces. Master Liu has watched his alliance partners break one by one under the pressure. Master Chen revealed the names of corrupt tax collectors. Master Wang described the secret routes merchants use to avoid military checkpoints. Master Zhao provided information about which government warehouses contain valuable supplies. Only Master Liu and Master Sun have refused to cooperate. But Master Sun is old and sick, and the harsh conditions of imprisonment are killing him slowly. He coughs constantly and can barely stand. Master Liu fears his friend will die before the bandits extract any useful information from him. Iron Scar Liu has saved Master Liu for last because he is the wealthiest and most connected member of the Alliance. The bandit leader believes Master Liu has the most valuable information and will be hardest to break. Today, Iron Scar Liu makes his final offer. He enters Master Liu's cell, carrying a written contract and a small oil lamp. The flickering light casts dancing shadows on the rock walls. Master Liu, Iron Scar Liu says with mock politeness, I have prepared a business proposal that will benefit us both. The contract is written on expensive paper in elegant calligraphy. Iron Scar Liu has hired a scholar to make the document look official and binding. The terms are clearly stated in legal language that leaves no room for misinterpretation. According to the contract, Master Liu will become a permanent agent of Iron Scar Liu's criminal organization. He will provide intelligence about government activities, identify targets for future raids, and use his social connections to facilitate bandit operations. In exchange, Iron Scar Liu will release Master Liu and guarantee his family's safety. The contract also specifies the consequences of betrayal. If Master Liu attempts to expose the bandit organization or refuses to fulfill his obligations, Iron Scar Liu will kill Master Liu's entire family and destroy all his remaining property. The contract includes detailed descriptions of these threatened punishments. This agreement ensures our mutual cooperation, Iron Scar Liu explains. You provide services that help my organization succeed. I provide protection that keeps your family alive. Both parties benefit from this arrangement. Master Liu reads the contract carefully. The terms are comprehensive and clearly favor the bandit organization. Master Liu would become a slave to Iron Scar Liu's ambitions, forced to betray his own social class and help criminals prosper. But refusing the contract means certain death for Master Liu and probable destruction for his family. Iron Scar Liu has demonstrated his willingness to use extreme violence against those who oppose him. The bandit leader's reputation for keeping his threats is well established. What guarantee do I have that you will honor this agreement? Master Liu asks. Iron Scar Liu smiles coldly. The same guarantee you have that the sun will rise tomorrow. I keep my promises because my reputation depends on it. Other wealthy families must know that I can be trusted to fulfill both my threats and my offers. This answer reveals the twisted logic of Iron Scar Liu's criminal enterprise. The bandit leader maintains credibility by consistently following through on his commitments, whether they involve violence or protection. This reputation makes future negotiations easier and more profitable. Master Liu also understands that signing the contract will not truly guarantee his family's safety. Iron Scar Liu will always have reasons to demand more cooperation, more information, and more services. The contract is not a solution to Master Liu's problems. It is a transformation of those problems into a different form of slavery. I need time to consider your offer, Master Liu says. Iron Scar Liu nods. You have until sunrise tomorrow. After that, the offer expires, and we proceed with less pleasant alternatives. After Iron Scar Liu leaves, Master Liu sits alone in his cell, contemplating the most important decision of his life. Every choice available to him involves tremendous sacrifice and uncertain consequences. If he signs the contract, he betrays everything he believes in and becomes a tool for criminals. His family might survive, but they will live in shame and constant fear. His children will grow up knowing their father chose dishonor over death. If he refuses to sign, he dies with his honor intact, but abandons his family to uncertain fate. Iron Scar Liu might kill them out of spite, or he might ignore them once Master Liu is dead. The family's survival would depend on luck and the protection of relatives who might not be willing to help. Master Liu also considers the broader implications of his choice. If he cooperates with Iron Scar Liu, he helps strengthen a criminal organization that preys on innocent people. Other families will suffer because Master Liu provided information that made bandit attacks more successful. But if he refuses to cooperate, Iron Scar Liu will simply find other sources of information. Master Liu's noble death will not meaningfully weaken the bandit organization or protect other potential victims. As night falls, Master Liu realizes that this choice reflects the fundamental moral corruption of the Three Kingdoms period. Circumstances have made it impossible to choose between clearly right and clearly wrong options. Every choice involves betraying someone or something important. This moral ambiguity is what makes survival so difficult during chaotic historical periods. Good people are forced to make terrible choices, and the consequences of those choices ripple through society in unpredictable ways. Master Liu spends the night writing farewell letters to his family, regardless of which choice he ultimately makes. If he signs the contract, these letters will explain why he chose family survival over personal honor. If he refuses to sign, the letters will explain why he chose death over dishonor. Zhang Jun's success in exposing grain corruption has brought both rewards and new dangers. His promotion to senior clerk provides better pay and a higher social status, but it also makes him a target for officials who want to eliminate potential witnesses to their own corrupt activities. The investigation that destroyed Director Wang's theft network has created a climate of fear and suspicion throughout the government bureaucracy. Many officials worry that their own illegal activities might be exposed next. Some are planning to eliminate anyone who might have evidence against them. Zhang Jun's new position gives him access to financial records from multiple government departments. This expanded access reveals that corruption is far more widespread than even he suspected. Nearly every department has officials who steal supplies, accept bribes, or misuse public resources. The scale of corruption is staggering. Zhang Jun estimates that at least 30% of all government resources are stolen or wasted through corrupt practices. This theft weakens Wei's ability to fight effectively against Wu and Xu, making military defeat more likely. But Zhang Jun's knowledge of this corruption makes him extremely dangerous to the officials involved. If he reports more corruption, he could destroy the careers and lives of dozens of powerful people. If he keeps silent, he becomes complicit in activities that harm Wei's war effort. Zhang Jun faces the same type of impossible choice that confronts all our characters during the Three Kingdoms period. He can pursue justice and risk his life, or he can protect himself and allow injustice to continue. His immediate supervisor, Director Chen, has become suspicious of Zhang Jun's rapid promotion and detailed knowledge of government operations. Director Chen suspects that Zhang Jun was involved in providing evidence against Director Wang, though he cannot prove it. Zhang Jun, Director Chen says during a private meeting, "Your work has been excellent, but some people are asking questions about how you gained such detailed knowledge of department operations." This warning tells Zhang Jun that his cover might be compromised. If officials discover his role in exposing Director Wang's corruption, they might assume he has evidence about their own illegal activities. Zhang Jun must find ways to protect himself without revealing the extent of his knowledge. He needs allies who can provide protection, but choosing the wrong allies could be as dangerous as having enemies. The Wu spy Master Li has disappeared from Luoyang, probably recalled to Wu territory now that his mission is complete. This leaves Zhang Jun without the protection that foreign intelligence connections might have provided. Zhang Jun considers several options for protecting himself. He could try to gather evidence against Director Chen and other suspicious officials, using that evidence as insurance against retaliation. He could attempt to transfer to a different government department where he would be less visible. He could even consider defecting to Wu or Xu territory, where his intelligence value might provide protection. But each option involves significant risks. Gathering more evidence increases his exposure to dangerous people. Transferring to a new department might not provide real protection. Defecting would make him a traitor and exile him from his homeland forever. Zhang Jun's dilemma illustrates how success can create new problems during chaotic periods. His initial success in exposing corruption has made him a more valuable and more dangerous person. This increased importance brings opportunities, but also threats that did not exist before. The irony is that Zhang Jun's patriotic actions have made him less safe in his own country. By helping Wei's military receive proper supplies, he has made enemies of officials who profit from corruption. His loyalty to Wei has created personal dangers that might force him to flee from Wei. This paradox reflects the complex moral landscape of the Three Kingdoms period. Doing the right thing often has negative personal consequences, while corrupt behavior provides short-term benefits. People must choose between their principles and their survival, knowing that both choices involve significant sacrifice. Zhang Jun decides to prepare for multiple contingencies. He creates hidden copies of important documents that could serve as evidence or insurance. He establishes contact with officials in other government departments who might provide protection. He also begins learning about routes and procedures for traveling to other kingdoms, in case escape becomes necessary. These preparations require Zhang Jun to live a double life, maintaining his public role as a loyal clerk while secretly preparing for possible exile or death. The psychological strain of this deception adds to the constant fear that already dominates his daily existence. Chen Wei has been detained in the provincial capital for 2 weeks, while Wu authorities investigate his refugee status. The process is slow and bureaucratic, complicated by the ongoing war between Wei and Wu. Officials are suspicious of anyone who comes from enemy territory, especially during active military campaigns. Meanwhile, his family remains in Riverside Village under increasingly difficult circumstances. Li Mei and the children are now known to be Wei refugees living under false identities. This revelation has changed how their neighbors treat them and created new dangers for their survival. Some villagers are sympathetic to the family's situation. They understand that Chen Wei fled Wei to escape starvation and persecution, not to spy for an enemy kingdom. These neighbors continue to treat Li Mei and the children with kindness and respect. But other villagers are suspicious and hostile. They worry that harboring Wei refugees might bring government persecution or military retaliation against the entire village. Some believe that Chen Wei might actually be a spy who used his family as cover for intelligence gathering. Master Jiang, Chen Wei's employer, is caught in the middle of this community division. He wants to help Li Mei and the children, but he also must consider his own family's safety and his business interests. Li Mei, Master Zhang says during a private conversation, I will continue to provide housing and food for your family while we wait for news about your husband. But if the authorities order me to stop helping you, I will have no choice but to comply. This conditional support reflects the precarious position of everyone in Riverside Village. Even well-meaning people cannot afford to take risks that might bring government retaliation against themselves and their families. Li Mei understands Master Zhang's position, but she also knows that her family's survival depends on maintaining his support. If Master Jiang withdraws his protection, Li Mei and the children will become homeless refugees in a foreign kingdom. Li Mei tries to make herself useful to Master Jiang's family to justify their continued support. She works harder than ever at household tasks and helps with additional projects around the farm. She teaches Master Jiang's children some Wei customs and songs that they find interesting. But Li Mei also prepares for the possibility that her family might be forced to leave Riverside Village. She secretly packs a small bundle of clothes and food that could sustain them for several days of travel. She studies maps and asks discreet questions about roads leading to other areas. The children, Chenbo and Chenhua, are confused and frightened by the changes in their situation. They do not fully understand why their father was taken away or why some neighbors now treat them differently. They ask constant questions that Li Mei cannot answer honestly without frightening them more. "Mama," Chenbo asks, "when will Papa come home? Why do some people look at us strangely now?" Li Mei struggles to explain the situation in terms a 6-year-old can understand. "Papa had to go to the big city to talk with important officials about our family. Some people are worried because we came from far away. But we are good people, and good people eventually find safety." This explanation provides some comfort to the children, but Li Mei knows it might not be true. Chen Wei's fate depends on decisions made by Wu officials who have no personal interest in his family's welfare. Bureaucratic convenience might be more important than justice or compassion. Li Mei also worries about practical matters. If Chen Wei is deported back to Wei territory, should she and the children try to follow him? The journey would be dangerous, and returning to Wei might mean facing the same starvation and persecution that drove them to flee originally. If Chen Wei is imprisoned or executed as a spy, Li Mei would become a widow with 2 young children in a foreign kingdom. She has no legal status in Wu territory and no resources except Master Jiang's charity. Survival would require finding new employment and new housing while caring for young children. Li Mei considers the possibility of remarrying if Chen Wei does not return. Wu widows with children face difficult marriage prospects, especially if they are refugees with questionable legal status. But remarriage might be the only way to provide security for Chenbo and Chenhua. These considerations force Li Mei to confront the harsh realities of women's lives during the 3 Kingdoms period. Women's survival often depends on their relationships with men who can provide protection and resources. Independent survival is extremely difficult for women with children and no property. But Li Mei also draws strength from her determination to protect her children regardless of personal cost. This maternal motivation gives her courage to face uncertain circumstances and make difficult decisions when necessary. One evening, Li Mei receives unexpected news that changes everything. A messenger arrives from the provincial capital with a letter from Chen Wei. The letter is written in Chen Wei's hand and bears an official Wu government seal. "My beloved wife," the letter begins, "I write to inform you that my case has been resolved. Wu authorities have granted me legal refugee status and permission to remain in Wu territory with my family. I will return to Riverside Village within 10 days, continue to live quietly, and cause no trouble until I arrive." This news brings joy and relief to Li Mei and the children, but the letter also contains subtle warnings that suggest Chen Wei's situation remains precarious. His instructions to live quietly and cause no trouble imply that the family remains under government observation. Li Mei wonders what conditions Wu authorities have imposed on Chen Wei's refugee status. Has he been required to provide information about Wei territory? Has he been assigned to specific work or residence requirements? Has he been required to report regularly to government officials? These questions will only be answered when Chen Wei returns. Until then, Li Mei must maintain the careful balance between gratitude for Wu protection and wariness about Wu intentions that defines refugee life during wartime. General Wang Shuang has spent 3 weeks rebuilding his shattered unit after the disastrous battle with General Ma Chao. His surviving 200 soldiers have been reinforced with 150 new recruits, bringing his force back to about 350 men. But the quality and morale of his troops remain problematic. The new recruits are even less experienced than the previous group, many of them boys under 18 or older men over 40. The war has consumed most able-bodied men in the region, leaving only those previously considered unfit for military service. General Wang's veteran soldiers are demoralized by their previous defeat and skeptical about the capabilities of their new comrades. Some openly question whether they can win battles with such poor quality troops. Others suggest that General Wang should request transfer to a different command. "General," says Sergeant Liu, speaking for many of the veterans, "these new soldiers cannot fight effectively. We are being asked to perform impossible missions with inadequate resources. Perhaps it is time to consider other options." This veiled suggestion of mutiny or desertion represents a serious crisis in military discipline. General Wang knows that desperate soldiers sometimes take desperate actions to escape hopeless situations. He must find ways to restore confidence and purpose to his unit. General Wang decides to focus on achievable missions that can rebuild his soldiers' confidence gradually, instead of attacking fortified positions or engaging superior enemy forces. He targets isolated outposts and supply convoys that can be defeated with proper planning and execution. This strategy pays off when General Wang's scouts identify a Shu supply convoy traveling with minimal guard protection. The convoy carries grain and weapons destined for Shu armies fighting in the north. Capturing these supplies would help General Wang's own logistics while depriving the enemy of resources. General Wang plans the attack carefully, using his veteran soldiers to execute the most difficult tasks while giving the recruits simpler but important roles. The veterans will assault the convoy guards, while the recruits block escape routes and secure captured supplies. The attack succeeds brilliantly. General Wang's soldiers capture the entire convoy with minimal casualties. They seize enough grain to feed the unit for 2 months and enough weapons to properly equip all the new recruits. More importantly, the victory boosts morale and restores confidence in General Wang's leadership. But success brings new problems. The captured supplies must be transported to secure locations, which requires soldiers who should be training or patrolling. The victory also attracts attention from Shu commanders, who send larger forces to hunt down General Wang's unit. General Wang finds himself trapped in a cycle where each success creates new challenges that require more successes to overcome. Military life during the Three Kingdoms period often follows this pattern of escalating commitments and increasing risks. The regional commander, General Zhao, responds to news of the convoy capture by assigning General Wang more ambitious missions. Instead of recognizing that General Wang's unit needs time to consolidate its gains, General Zhao demands immediate follow-up attacks on larger targets. General Wang, writes General Zhao, your success against the supply convoy demonstrates that your unit is ready for more important missions. You are ordered to attack the Shu fortress at Red Cliff within 20 days. This fortress controls river traffic and must be captured to support our northern offensive. Red Cliff Fortress is even more heavily defended than Nanyang, the target General Wang avoided through deception earlier. Attacking Red Cliff with 350 mostly inexperienced soldiers would be suicidal, but General Wang has already used the excuse of fictional enemy reinforcements once and cannot repeat the same deception. General Wang considers his increasingly limited options. He could attack Red Cliff and likely lose his entire unit in a hopeless assault. He could refuse orders and face court-martial for disobedience. He could attempt to desert with his soldiers and become a bandit leader like Iron Scar Liu. But General Wang also considers a fourth option that reflects the moral complexity of the Three Kingdoms period. He could arrange for his unit to be defeated by pre-arranged agreement with Shu forces, allowing his soldiers to survive while technically fulfilling their orders to attack Red Cliff. This plan would require secret negotiations with Shu commanders who might be willing to participate in a staged battle that serves both sides' interests. General Wang's unit would go through the motions of attacking Red Cliff, suffer a convincing defeat, and retreat with acceptable casualties. The Shu defenders would demonstrate their competence without actually destroying a Wei unit. Such arrangements were not uncommon during the Three Kingdoms period, when survival often required cooperation between nominal enemies. Professional soldiers sometimes had more in common with each other than with the political leaders who ordered them to fight. General Wang begins discreet inquiries about the possibility of arranging such a staged defeat. The process requires extreme caution because discovery would mean execution for treason. But the alternative might be the genuine destruction of his unit in a pointless battle. This decision illustrates how the Three Kingdoms period forced people to choose between formal loyalty and practical survival. General Wang remains loyal to Wei in principle, but circumstances have made literal obedience to orders incompatible with his duty to preserve his soldiers' lives. The moral ambiguity of this situation reflects the broader ethical challenges of the Three Kingdoms period. Traditional concepts of loyalty, honor, and duty become complicated when following them leads to destruction, while violating them might serve the greater good. As summer deepens in the year 221 AD, the consequences of our characters' spring choices begin to intersect and influence each other in unexpected ways. The grain corruption investigation, the refugee crisis, the bandit attacks, and the military campaigns are all part of the same chaotic system that defines Three Kingdoms society. Zhang Jun's success in exposing grain corruption has improved supply conditions for Wei military units, including General Wang's, rebuild force. The better rations help General Wang's soldiers maintain their health and fighting capability during the difficult summer campaign season. But the corruption investigation has also created instability in Wei's government bureaucracy. Officials are suspicious of each other and reluctant to take initiatives that might be interpreted as disloyal. This administrative paralysis makes it harder for Wei to respond effectively to Wu and Shu military advances. Chen Wei's refugee case has been resolved favorably, but his experience illustrates the broader refugee crisis affecting all three kingdoms. Millions of people have been displaced by the constant warfare, creating economic and social pressures that destabilize entire regions. Master Lu's capture by bandits reflects the general breakdown of law and order in areas where government forces are too busy fighting external enemies to maintain internal security. The growth of bandit organizations creates additional chaos that makes survival harder for everyone. Iron Scar Lu's criminal network has grown stronger partly because corruption has weakened government resistance to bandit activities. The same officials who steal grain supplies are often willing to accept bribes from bandits in exchange for ignoring their criminal activities. All of these interconnected problems show how individual choices during wartime create cascading effects that influence entire societies. A clerk's decision to expose corruption, a farmer's choice to flee his homeland, a general's tactical decisions, and a rich man's alliance all become part of the larger historical pattern. But our characters still focus primarily on their immediate survival challenges. They do not fully understand how their personal struggles fit into the broader sweep of Three Kingdoms history. This limited perspective is realistic for people living through chaotic historical periods. Zhang Jun worries about protecting himself from retaliation while using his position to help Wei's war effort. Chen Wei worries about rebuilding his family's life in Wu territory while hiding his continuing emotional connection to his Wei homeland. General Wang worries about keeping his soldiers alive while fulfilling impossible military orders. Master Lu faces the ultimate choice between honor and survival, knowing that either option will destroy important aspects of his identity and legacy. His decision will reflect not just personal values, but also the broader moral corruption that warfare has brought to Chinese society. Each character has learned that survival during the Three Kingdoms period requires constant adaptation to changing circumstances. Traditional sources of security, wealth, social status, military power, and family connections provide only temporary and limited protection. The characters have also learned that moral choices become more complex during chaotic periods. Simple distinctions between right and wrong are replaced by difficult calculations about competing loyalties and conflicting obligations. As autumn approaches, all of our characters must prepare for new challenges that will test their survival skills and moral convictions. The lessons they have learned during their spring and summer struggles will determine whether they can adapt to whatever the future brings. The Three Kingdoms period continues its relentless demands on everyone who lives through it. Each season brings new wars, new disasters, and new opportunities that require fresh responses from people who are already exhausted by constant struggle. But our characters have also demonstrated remarkable resilience and creativity in facing impossible circumstances. They have found ways to survive when survival seemed impossible, to maintain their humanity when circumstances encouraged brutality, and to protect what they value most when everything around them is being destroyed. Their stories reflect the experiences of millions of ordinary people who lived through the Three Kingdoms period and other chaotic historical eras. These people did not make the great political and military decisions that historians remember, but they made the daily choices that determined whether Chinese civilization would survive its time of crisis. Tomorrow will bring new tests of their courage, wisdom, and endurance. But our characters have proven that ordinary people can find extraordinary ways to survive and even thrive during the most difficult periods in human history. As the sun rises on what may be Master Liu's last day alive, he makes his decision. After a sleepless night of contemplation, he realizes that both honor and survival have their own forms of value. He chooses to sign Iron Scar Liu's contract, not from cowardice, but from a deeper understanding that his family's survival matters more than his personal reputation. "I will sign your contract," Master Liu tells Iron Scar Liu, "but I want one addition. My family must never know the truth about this arrangement. Let them believe I escaped through cleverness, not collaboration." Iron Scar Liu agrees to this condition. Master Liu's shame will be private, allowing his children to remember their father with respect rather than disgust. Sometimes survival requires not just physical compromise, but the wisdom to protect others from painful truths. Zhang Jun receives word that Director Chen has been arrested for corruption, based on evidence Zhang Jun provided to investigators. His careful balance between exposure and self-protection has succeeded. He is promoted, again, this time, to a position where he can help prevent future corruption while remaining safe from retaliation. Sometimes, Zhang Jun reflects, the greatest patriotism requires the most careful deception. Chen Wei returns to Riverside Village as a legal refugee, reunited with his family after weeks of uncertainty. But his refugee status comes with conditions. He must report to Wu officials monthly and cannot travel freely. He accepts these restrictions gratefully, knowing that safety often requires some loss of freedom. "We are together," Chen Wei tells Li Mei as he holds his children again. In times like these, being together safely is the greatest victory possible. General Wang's staged battle at Red Cliff proceeds according to plan. His unit suffers convincing but minimal casualties, while the Shu defenders demonstrate their competence. Both sides fulfill their obligations to their superiors while preserving their soldiers' lives. Sometimes, wisdom requires cooperation with enemies who share common interests in survival. As autumn arrives in 221 AD, our characters have learned the fundamental truth about surviving the Three Kingdoms period. There are no perfect choices, only better and worse compromises. Each has sacrificed something important: honor, honesty, freedom, or idealism, to preserve what they value most. Master Liu lives as a secret collaborator, but saves his family. Zhang Jun serves his country through deception and espionage. Chen Wei finds safety as a refugee, but loses his homeland. General Wang protects his soldiers through staged defeats and careful lies. Their stories reflect the experiences of millions who lived through China's most chaotic historical period. They remind us that survival during times of war and social collapse requires not just courage and strength, but also the wisdom to adapt moral principles to impossible circumstances. The Three Kingdoms period will continue for many more years, bringing new challenges and new choices. But our characters have learned the skills they need to face whatever the future may bring. They have discovered that ordinary people can find extraordinary ways to survive and protect what they love, even when the world around them seems determined to destroy everything they value. In the end, their survival is not just a personal victory, but a contribution to the continuation of Chinese civilization through its darkest hour by adapting, enduring, and preserving their families and communities. They help ensure that China will emerge from this period of chaos to rebuild and flourish once again